Shalom, Burukaba, welcome. I'm joined by a bunch of ragtag group of people, and one person's currently not here right now. But there we go. So hello everyone. How's everyone doing?
Good.
I'm
Yeah.
well rested and ready to go.
Awesome. I've already been on camera for 4 hours today, so my energy levels are like a 3 out of 10.
I got to catch some of that. That was that was an interesting. I didn't know there were Jews like that. I mean,
Yeah.
Were you on
like,
the news for something bad, Chris?
No, I was not. Not yet.
Did you do a stream earlier?
Yeah, I did a stream earlier, and I
Okay.
recorded a video that was 35 minutes before that. So it's very smart before doing another stream tonight. But here we are. Anyway, I'll be doing another stream with Israel maybe next week on
okay.
the rabbinic stuff, because we didn't do much of the rabbinic stuff today. So that's good.
Man, the chat was going crazy in that one. There was some very feisty
Strong
people in
Come on, feisty people. It helps the algorithm. Get in here, get mad. We love Jews. What are you going to say about it? Say something. Say it one word at a time.
It was a strange mix. There was there's someone that was saying Muhammad's in the Bible. There was there were two people that were saying that they seem to be kind of against you and Israel. Which was funny. So they were there, and that guy did have his own channel. I went and poked around it. I thought this is interesting. This is very interesting. So that that video ought to do all right, I'd say.
Don't poke around too much with those weirdos. Man, I was like, who said this? I clicked on their thing one time and the guy had a dog mask on. I'm like, oh no. I've been on Twitter too long.
Oh man, the things you see on the internet, you don't want to ever see it again. It's pretty. Humanity is a dark, evil thing at times, and man, do I not want to be associated with some of it.
I do like dogs. I'm not a Muslim, right? But
right.
Dog mask.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. If it needs a mask to be a dog, it's probably
not a
probably
dog.
not a dog, and not likable like a dog is. Well,
Yeah, you would think, yeah, especially if it can talk to you. That's a telltale sign that what you're doing is not correct or valid, or
and not
good.
just like barking, saying Timmy's in the well. I mean, like talking.
Yeah, like barking in a different way. That's significantly worse.
That's what fans do. Have you ever been on their Discord?
No,
I don't know what the inside joke is exactly, but it's some dumb thing like, woof for Than, and they'll be like bark or something. And then IP's just embarrassed.
This sounds about right. No, I've never actually joined IP server. I see all the people like the little IP icons on Discord, but I've not had the time or effort to join it yet. But getting barked at by your fans is not something that I think I would be like, this is awesome.
I'm not going to disclose how I figured this out, but wolf, at least when I discovered it, very unfortunately on accident, is that's a thing, and it's usually not a. That's an odd thing. I don't really know how to say it, so I just won't. But so I hope
it's our topic tonight.
It's its own thing.
The topic is the law. So we have McCain's and YouTube gypped me on the notification, man, with a weary face.
We've already been on for an hour. You missed it.
I know, man. You just missed the whole stream. It's crazy. Anyway, we're gonna be going through.
Introduce the different people, so because like I've never heard of Tommy before. Who is this?
That's
guy?
Not fun.
What are you doing?
That's not what we do here. Come on, makes sense. Anyway, so Stephen, I go in the circle. Stephen is a Christian who's Torah observant, but not for salvation, just out of obedience to the law. Christian Fartfly is a weirdo who likes to dress up in fish costumes.
Oh gosh, that was perfect. Thank you. That was the intro I needed.
Tommy is one of our over the pond brothers who is newer to the faith but super based. And he has a small beginning of a YouTube channel and Pretty excited. He's starting a couple of more and more little bite-sized Bible studies. They're pretty good. He just did one on David and Goliath that I recommend. Yeah. So we have a whole mix and range of experience as both Christians, as men, because we have different age ranges and language. Like we have a lot of background here, which is pretty interesting. Youthful zeal and
an outfit as well because Gadfly was here. So I just just in case there is any detective responsibilities, let me know and I will be happy to interject whenever you need me.
Scotland Yard, yeah.
Finally,
Pretty
somebody
excellent.
of intelligence on this panel.
That's true. Yeah, we need it. Anyway, so we're going to be going through the law, and I want to start out with one of the coolest things in the Torah, because people just don't realize how based the Torah is. Like, truly, one of the coolest things you can possibly do and encounter is the Torah. Just going through it, studying it. Maybe he can help me find the Injil.
They need a detective for that because this has been missing for a while. Can you solve a 600-year-old mystery?
Oh no, you're not going to find that.
Or camel pee, ancient semen, and some dates.
Anyway, let's jump into this. So this is the beginning to Numbers. I alluded to this in my stream earlier today with Israel, that this is one of my favorite things inside of the law, and most people aren't aware of it. So I just want to show what the camp of Israel was doing in the desert throughout the whole duration that they were there. It's pretty cool. So the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, the Israelites are to camp around the tent of meeting some distance from it, each of them under their standard and holding the banners of their families. So holding the banners of the family will become relevant whenever we get to the end of this, but they are specifically to face towards the east, towards the south, towards the north, and towards the west. And it's not in a circle, it's due west, due north, due south, and due east. So in the east, we have Judah, and it's Judah plus Issachar and Zebulun. So we have a variety of camps being mixed together as one side because there's 12 tribes, so you have 3 per 4 directions to overall. So we have Judah to the east with 186,000 members. Then we have on the south Reuben with 151,000. We have on the west Ephraim with 108,000, and we have on the north Dan with 157,000. So whenever we are plotting this, if I share my screen with my good old trusty old reliable MS Paint, we see some interesting things whenever we start plotting this. So if we look at the ark is right in the middle. So this would have been the tabernacle, it would have been Moses, and it would have been the smaller Gentile tribes that went with them. So you have your 3 tribes that went with him right in the middle. And on the east, you have Judah. And he had 187,000. On the north, you have, I guess I could go in the order that was actually given. On the south, you have Reuben. I can't write or spell, it's okay. 151,000. On the west, you have the tribe of Ephraim. $108,000. And on the north, you have Dan with 156,000, if I remember correctly. 157,000. So I was off. Let's remedy that. So this is how they actually had them laid out around the ark. And this is straight lines around it. Due west, due north, due south, due east. Whenever we start looking at how these square or rectangular encampments were done, we see that there's an imbalance. On the north and the south are roughly the same, and then on the west and the east are slightly different. So the way this would actually look from the encampment is 2 medium-sized blocks of people on there, then a smaller block of people, and then a much longer block of people. So from God's perspective, the Ark of the Covenant would be surrounded by a cross of people, which is pretty awesome. It gets more awesome whenever you start looking at the banners themselves. So Judah is a lion. Dan is a man, if I remember correctly. Ephraim is the eagle. And then Reuben is the ox. So we have the four faces, the four heads of the living creature. Christian Gadfly left. I don't know why. I offended him. We have the four heads of the living creatures, the lion, the ox. Oh, help back. You deserted me. The eagle and the man. So these are the four faces of the heads of the living creature. Also, these are related to the four gospels. So we have, the man being Mark, the eagle being John for the high Christology, the ox being Luke for the sacrificial servant, and the lion being the Messiah. This is Matthew. So the church fathers already brought up the connections between the different gospels and the different marks, different banners of the different tribes. In the 300s, 400s, they brought out these parallels already where each of the gospels have a certain focus that they're focused on that is related to each of these animals, each of these ideas. And Jesus is all of these things. So we have Jesus is man. He is God with the eagle. He is our sacrifice, and he is our Messiah, our king. So he is God and man, who's a sacrificial Messiah, sacrificial king, who's on the ark, and the ark itself is the divine presence of God. So this is where God dwells physically on the planet. So we have God dwelling physically with his representative Moses, the high priest and king and ruler and judge, all in the middle with the Gentiles included. So you have both the Jews and the Gentiles making up this cross with the divine presence in the middle where the sacrifices would be done, where the law was given throughout the 40 years that they were traveling, where the judgments were given. We have all of that in the center of this cross, and the foundation that holds it all up is the Lion of Judah. So the Messiah, his messiahship is related to his divinity, his humanity, and his position as the sacrifice. This is in Numbers, just casually. Isn't that insane?
It's pretty cool.
I hate to be that guy, but where are all the other tribes? Do they ruin this pattern?
No, the tribes are broken up. So you have a division there, division there, division here, division here, division here, division here. So you would still
12.
Yeah, you would make it into 12. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if I bring up an image of what this would look like, from the sky, from God's perspective, it would look like a cross on the ground. So if I stop streaming that, or if I just download this, remove that, open up image, save image. So from God's point of view, what he would be looking at is essentially something akin to this. So we see the Jews and Gentiles coming together with the divine presence, representing the cross everywhere they went for these 40 years. So in the desert, in this struggling, in this suffering, we still have God physically present with them because he's in the cloud above them and he's traveling with them. Whenever they settle, he comes down from the cloud to speak to Moses one-on-one. But we have the whole priesthood, the whole, everything is encapsulated within that. That's in Numbers, the book that pretty much no one reads. And it's just sitting there, just staring at you in the face. what do you do with this? Like, if the Bible wasn't planned out, if the cross was not planned out, if none of all this was random, why did God have them do it this way? I feel like this blew my mind and Tommy's mind way more than it's blowing your guys' mind.
I just sadly for the viewing experience, I have a pretty good study on this from a long time ago, so I was kind of aware. So, I mean, it is as cool as you're saying it is. I just
yeah.
Very cool.
I like it. Anyway, Torah's based. You should study it. Too long, didn't watch that. Anyway, so that's one of my favorite things inside of the Torah. You get that. You also get like all the typology. Typology is just super based. That's pretty dope. Thank you. I feel vindicated now.
Here.
This is based.
He might know David Segarra.
He does know David Segarra. Yeah.
I did say I'll pretend I haven't seen it before and I'll react, and you said no, don't do it.
Yeah, we're not Muslim. We're not gonna,
make
Lily
for
J. Can you believe that?
She's like already a convinced Muslim and still pretending to be surprised by things.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, that made more sense back when you were supposedly not already a Muslim. Why are you surprised by this now?
Es my tío.
Cuídate. Eres un malvado.
What does God want from us? God wants us to love him, love each other, and come to accept Jesus Christ as both God and sacrifice. And have a relationship with us.
Yeah, loving relationship with us. Like, imagine a dad who is estranged from his kids, but he also wants obedience, and that would be because it's for our own good.
Right.
So it's based in that love.
Yeah. He doesn't do anything out of arbitrariness. Everything has a purpose. It's pretty cool. Anyway. Yeah. So, any thoughts on that before we move on?
Are we going to? Are we jumping back into Exodus now?
Yes.
Oh, good. I prepared reading Exodus 31 to 34. This was my first time to ever prepare for a stream with you. And then it opens up. All right, let's go to Numbers 1. Are you serious? Okay, I can be a little more excited about the cross now, but it was like, man, I did all that preparation.
You're just super upset and just flaming.
I did not prepare
actually
for Numbers.
Meant to prepare for the camp thing because I have a really in-depth study on it, and I was gonna just kind of refresh myself so I could try to contribute if there's anything. And I went upstairs to get something, and I ended up getting distracted and eating. I ate a can of soup, and then it's like, oh, it's time for live stream. Then we get down, and it's like, oh my gosh.
That's the most old man story I've ever heard you tell.
Just say
Like Mr. Magoo.
Makes it sound like you're eating the actual can. Like instead of just like I had a bowl of soup.
Well, it was because I ate it out of the can because I was too lazy to warm it up.
I hope it wasn't condensed Campbell's.
No,
Okay.
not this time.
Can you imagine?
Was it
the stomach that man has? That he eats horseradish. He's
Ugh.
eating ginger raw.
Ginger
Steven's
raw,
insane.
though, I think that's actually in small amounts on a piece of sushi. That's a fantastic.
Yeah, but that's pickled ginger though.
Well, that's still not raw.
Oh, really?
That's treated ginger. Raw ginger is a whole different experience. Yeah.
Gee.
No, I accidentally made raw ginger for my wife in the first week of our marriage, and that did not go well.
How do you accidentally? You just didn't turn the burner on?
No, I was trying to be fancy.
For you. Oh, I didn't cook it. Whoops.
I was trying to be fancy with my orange chicken. And instead of grating the ginger as you're supposed to break it down so it doesn't kill you, I cut it into strips. So I had strips of uncooked ginger. So imagine like Listerine strips of ginger going into your body. That's what it was. Yeah.
So you're a writer.
Yeah.
I think you are. You should be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm writing a book right now. So, yeah.
We have some ginger root upstairs right now. I noticed because I think my wife's gonna make some kind of Indian food for dinner tomorrow night, and
nice.
I didn't realize it was such a I mean, I knew it was like strong, but I didn't realize that it was
Al Zoot strong.
yeah.
Make you
I didn't
throw
realize
up.
it affects people so negatively when it's raw
Oh,
like that.
it isn't. It's yeah. I'll never forget that. That's one of only 3 times we ever threw away food on purpose. In 8 years of being together. So
well, now I'm curious about the other 2 times, but I don't want to. I keep derailing us. Just we'll keep going.
One of them was
sorry.
a really botched chicken piccata that just boiled in the pan because I didn't have enough space in the pan. It just boiled. I didn't salt the chicken. I didn't smash the chicken. I just cooked like Tyson watery chicken breast on the pan, crowded, and it literally boiled. It was the grossest thing I've ever, like, texture wise, terrible. And then the other one we just left out all night.
One of the grossest things I've ever made. It doesn't sound like gross. Was I was making ramen noodle, and I'd like to throw stuff in it so I feel like I'm a chef or whatever, but it's really just crap. But all I had was okra, and I chopped up the okra and threw it in, and it turned into just this big pot of slime. It was so gross.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Anyway. Yeah. Again, okay, so this guy is bringing up I'm not going to talk
He's
about this right now
back.
because that's just a giant derailing.
Mhm.
If you've seen, I made an hour-long video. I think it's the longest video on my channel is just going into Isaiah 53. You can watch that. That's my argument. I'm not going to say anything on stream that's going to be different from that video.
But keep spamming about it because it helps the algorithm. So
Right.
take all that energy, that Isaiah 49 energy, and just put it in, type it in, get it in there.
Anyway. So Moses arose with Joshua, his attendant, and Moses went up to the mountain of God. But to the elders, he said, "Remain here for us until we return to you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has a legal matter, let him approach them." I am not going through 31 yet because we didn't fully finish 24. So before Christian freaks out again, we will.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't prepare for this.
We'll start in 31:12, but let's finish up this little bit. Okay, so Moses is now instructed to go up the mountain and remain there, and I will give you stone tablets. So God is going to give them the stone tablets. And the glory of Yahweh dwelt on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. On the 7th day, he called to Moses from the midst of the cloud, and the appearance of the glory of Yahweh was like a consuming fire on a mountaintop in the eyes of the sons of Israel. Then Moses entered the midst of the cloud as he went up into the mountain, and Moses was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights.
Holy crap, I just realized something.
Huh.
So, if you go to Exodus 3, when he sees the burning bush, Moses sees the burning bush, it says that he noticed that it wasn't burning up. And it's when he notices that it's not burning up that God reaches out to it. It says when God saw that Moses had recognized this, that's when that's what gets God's attention to start talking to him. But what's so interesting is now Moses is becoming like the angel from the original burning bush by entering into the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty based. And we're going to see 2 levels of Yahweh here. A Yahweh who writes and a Yahweh who's in the sky, who's not actually approaching him other than when he's in the cleft of the rock. So we can see, okay, why is there 2 instances of Yahweh on the mountain with Moses? If it's just, Unitarian, if it's not a Trinity, if there's not a multi-personal side or multi-aspect side of Yahweh, why is this happening the way it is? So we'll get to that. I think we're about to jump straight down to that. Then Yahweh speaks to Moses, saying, "Speak of the sons of Israel, so they take a contribution from me. For every man whose heart is willing, you shall take my contribution." And he goes through the contribution, he goes through the building of all the stuff. And almost all of this is a typology of Jesus. I say almost all of it, I mean like 95% of it. So we might do a stream just on the typology within the law, which would be probably like a 6 or 7 part series, depending on how many things we go down. Like Mike Winger, whenever he did a series on it, it was like 5 hours. So him doing that without anyone else talking, it'd probably be like 10 to 15 for us. We'll see. Anyway, we're going to jump down to 31:12. So at the end of all the typology stuff, at the end of all the instructions, and everything else. But I did want to mention one thing. You distracted me before. There is a rabbinic tradition that I think is really funny here, where Moses goes up into the fire and he's there for 40 days. And on like the 38th day or the 39th day, the devil tricks everyone into thinking that Moses was dead. That's how he got them to make the golden calf. So it says that he showed him an image of his dead body in the sky. So like imagine like a big jumbotron of a fake Moses corpse in the sky, and he says, "See, he's dead. Now worship me," or like worship the cow. Then he Samael, who is the angel of death and also Satan, he then goes and makes a golden calf in combination with Aaron / not Aaron, because the rabbinics also change all the prophets to be sinless. So it's more like, yeah, it's, again, everything's copied, but you have the cow coming out and it's lolling, it's mooing at them. So the cow seems alive, like he's glowing, there's smoke, and he's mooing. And then they start worshiping the cow. And then Moses comes down and the tablets are carrying themselves, because it says that the entire Torah was written on the stone. So instead of it just being the 10 Commandments, which would be more reasonable, it's the entire law is written on the stone itself, which would mean that it is either giant, in which case it's way too heavy to hold, or the text is so small it's not legible. I don't really know what you do with that. But in the rabbinic position, the stones float, and he just like drags it on a lead. He's just carrying the stones as they like float down the mountain with him. And then whenever he sees them and he gets angry, the stones stop floating and they hit the ground and break. So instead of Moses getting like righteous anger and breaking the tablets, because that would be sin, instead the tablets broke themselves, because prophets are sinless.
Very interesting.
That's kind of ridiculous. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, just because there's all sorts of, I mean, with the depth of rabbinic literature, there's so much stuff, even just in this little section. Like they would say, some even argue that the tablets were written in what's called Ashuri script, which is this,
right? Which is nonsense,
right? Because it's.
So
And also like letters like with like Mem Sofit, where it's closed, where there would be like, they said the tablets were carved straight all the way through, like from front to back,
double-sided,
but still the pieces in there like inside of the Mem Sofit are floating, and just strange stuff that it makes you wonder, like why do you why did you come to this conclusion, or why did you decide to talk on this type of stuff? Just super interesting. And
right. So an example here is this mem here. It's a circle basically. So this circle, the inner bit would just be floating in place of the line. That's the idea. So you have that. You also have the tag with the crowns are supposedly on the letters originally, which is why it has to be in this script. The original Hebrew is not in this script. It just isn't. We have examples of it not being in the script. We have explicitly in the Talmud that they changed it, and that you can't use the old script for new scrolls. And there's like a debate on what language you use to write the Torah, what script you use to write the Torah. So obviously it was changed. Obviously it was not these letters originally. That was these letters in their meaning. So instead of a limit, it would have been like a shepherd's crook. Instead of an aleph, it would have been an ox head. Instead of a mem, it would have been water. Instead of a rosh, it would have been a head. So you have like the same letters. It's the same word, leomir, but it's not the same, not more. It's to speak.
What I was going to say earlier with the ridiculousness of saying that Moses is sinless is his story is so full of sin, like where he murders the Egyptian. And then whenever God first appears to him in the burning bush, he like pisses God off because he keeps saying, I can't do that. Well, I can't do that. And God keeps saying, well, fine, then I'll have, this and this and this. And God actually gets frustrated. Right. And he seems angry whenever he's like, well, your brother Aaron can come and he can speak for you. Now, what's interesting is if Moses had just been immediately obedient, there would never be a split between like the king and the priest.
right.
between the role of Aaron and the role of Moses, but it's because Moses keeps saying, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. The role becomes split in two rather than having a priest king.
Right. So then he just becomes a king and a prophet. And Aaron then becomes the typology of Jesus for the high priest. Yeah. So Moses could have been an even greater type of Christ, but because of his unwillingness to serve, he is then lesser in a sense, which is kind of interesting. So even though he's the one who, eventually, but I love you can see the mental progression during the plagues, where he starts out with him only speaking through Aaron. About halfway through, it's a mixture, and then towards like the 6th and 7th plague, he is speaking primarily. Aaron's not speaking for him. It says like the language shifts about who is speaking, how it's speaking. So it's Moses speaking directly to Pharaoh for the last couple plagues. So we can see him like building confidence, building assurance in his walk, in his calling under Yahweh, and in defeating the Egyptians. So it's pretty cool. It's almost as if the Bible actually records history and there's real people in it, and people have their own personalities and quirks instead of another book that everyone is exactly the same at all times.
There's no complexity.
Yeah. Anyway, so Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, "But as for you, speak to the sons of Israel, saying, you shall surely keep my Sabbaths, for this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations."
Yeah, Chris.
That you may know that I am Yahweh who makes you holy. So part of the Sabbath is to make us holy. Therefore you shall keep the Sabbath, for it is holy to you. Everyone who profanes it shall be surely put to death. For whoever does any work on it, that person shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days work may be done, but on the 7th day there is a Sabbath of complete rest, holy to Yahweh. I was waiting for your, yeah, Chris, for the surely be put to death.
He's gonna kill you and boil you like Tyson chicken.
Yeah, then cook me in mother's milk. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day shall surely be put to death. So the sons of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to celebrate the Sabbath throughout their generations as an everlasting covenant. Okay.
Sounds really important. Really important.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's an everlasting covenant.
Yeah, it also says that. That's also very interesting.
From generation to generation is the idea, which is what that means. So this last little bit is, I believe generation. So it's generation to generation.
Throughout all your generations, to your generations.
Right. So we have that, and is it binding even for Christians? And then the whole thing with Paul and that whole debate that we will eventually have on stream. But we do have this importance of the Sabbath. Now, Jesus is our Sabbath rest. He is the fulfillment of this, as we see in Hebrews and a variety of other places, that he is the Sabbath rest. Does that mean that we also don't need other like physical rest? No. Do we specifically have to do it on the Sabbath and versus any other day? I would say any other day would also work, as long as you're actually resting. You're not supposed to work every day of the week.
It is awful specific on which day it is.
It's true. It is awful specific on which day it is. Although you do have Sunday mentioned twice for congregations in the New Testament.
Sort of, but I'm going to interrupt.
Right. Yeah. There's debate. There's a healthy debate, and we've had that debate before, just not on camera. I so wish that was recorded, man. There's very few things in my life I regret, but not recording that is.
Did y'all record the 8-hour conversation that happened all night?
No.
That was that was just free form.
No one wants to. That's how you know there is a God. That wasn't recorded.
I don't know. Some people might need help sleeping at night.
I don't think we're the ones to come through. Stephen's up till 9 a.m. I was up till 2 p.m. We were just talking about life, testimony, and all that. So, if you do need help sleeping, just pray about it. Don't ask me.
Yeah, these two didn't sleep last night, so they're going off of like like less. How much sleep did you guys even get? Did you go to sleep, Tommy?
I don't really believe in sleep, and I'll tell you why. I believe that it's an agenda made by a specific part of a specific political party to keep us weak, and I don't believe in sleep, and I don't believe in just folding into their agenda. So I don't want to comment on how much sleep I had, but it wasn't much.
It was not a Sabbath rest.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, your mate's back in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
He's got so many useful questions.
Jesus is your Sabbath. Yes, he is. If you read Hebrews, the book of Hebrews, it'll answer most of your questions, including most of these. A lot of these are answered in your thing. Is Jesus a coffee? Is Jesus
go to
towel?
Bible Project and put in Sabbath rest. That video is great.
That'd be pretty good too. Yeah. Was Jesus a Muslim? No, brother. No, Jesus was not a Muslim. He's also not a towel.
But if you do think he was a Muslim, put it in the comments. Bring it up. Get that algorithm going.
All right. No, we don't believe in a pantheistic God. Anyway. So it is a sign between me and the sons of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven and the earth, but on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. When he hey, look at that. So just like Yahweh rested and was refreshed, when he finished speaking with him upon Mount Sinai, he gave Moses the 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone written by the finger of God. This one's pretty cool for like showing that God is physical. So also in the rabbinic sources, you get that Yahweh didn't need to rest. He didn't actually need to take a break from creation, which is also, happens to be in a different book. So we have that, but why did God create the Sabbath? To give us rest, because he knows that our bodies biologically need rest. Hint, hint to people in call.
I get a lot of it on the Sabbath.
All them out.
Yeah, you can do a lot of it on the Sabbath. That is absolutely true.
He's looking behind him like somebody else in the room.
He needs to put on a Sherlock hat to figure out the mystery of who I'm talking about. Whoever could I be talking about? Anyway, I wonder, huh? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Anyway, so we have this. The people are to establish the Sabbath forever, and we have God physically appearing, writing on the tablets with the finger of God. We see a similar thing happening in Daniel whenever he's writing into the walls for Nebuchadnezzar's son who became king as a warning against him. And then I think either that week or whatever, he is destroyed by the Persians. Remember correctly? Cyrus comes in and destroys them. So we have the writing of the finger of God in stone a lot of times. Well, I guess 2 times physically, actively, but we have this motif, this idea present. But in the New Testament, we have Jesus bowing down and writing in the sand with the finger of God. And we also have in the covenant that he will, John 8, 1 through 11, where it's probably not original to that location, might have been in Luke or might not have been in any gospel, but it was included in the Gospels. We have early testimony that the event happened, so it's probably actually happened. It's probably a real event. It's just not part of John 8. If you read John 7:52 to John 8:12, it reads perfectly. So you could just cut it out and read straight through, and it makes way more sense. Because otherwise, the rest of John 8, he's not in the temple, and that makes no sense whatsoever. He has to be in the temple for the rest of John 8 to make sense. So anyway, but we have Jesus writing in the sand, and we have in the new covenant in Jeremiah that God will write the law on our hearts. So whereas he wrote in stone with his finger in the law on the tablets, in the new covenant, he's going to write on our heart. So again, we have the inscription of God writing his commands, his morality on our heart, our consciousness. And Paul talks about this as a circumcision of the heart, that we have the unnecessary parts of our heart being cut away. That, circumcision is removing the only unnecessary part of a human, which is our foreskin. It's the only part where if you remove it, your body improves function. There's other couple parts that are almost benign, not fully benign, that there are significant complications for some people. Like getting your tonsils removed can lead to severe health outcomes for a minority of people. Removing foreskin, as long as you don't botch it, as long as you don't get like a bad snip, it's not going to negatively impact anyone. In fact, it improves health. It decreases UTI. It decreases chance of getting an STI, like STD, STI. Get out of here, my brain. STD. I stick with the inaccurate definitions that I grew up with, like real American. So it benefits you, it helps you, and it helps identify you to where if you were to be naked in a congregation, if you're bathing communally, which was very common, you could tell the Jews just by looking at the foreskins. So in the same way, God identifies us with our hearts. We are a light to the Gentiles, light to the world. We are a light unto the nations based on our love, based on our circumcised heart that God used his finger to write onto, to inscribe into. So you could say like part of the baptismal regeneration of the Holy Spirit is this inscription of God on our heart that takes away our desire to sin, and it brings us into a level of holiness that the Old Testament law was unable to achieve, in my opinion. I don't know if Stephen fully agrees with that.
Yes, I agree with that.
Based, cool. That it's unable to achieve. Therefore, he wrote on our heart in a way that can't be removed, can't be like, I love the Tommy, your cross tattoo, where people can take the cross off your neck, but they can't snatch it off your head. That idea. And it's like, you could take, you could rip that off, but you're not going to like rip my heart out, or you can't take out the spiritual change that's been inside of me. You can kill me. You can castrate me. You will not change who I am in Christ. And it's beautiful. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
But it's kind of an open invitation to a particular sect of people. Obviously, I have to be extremely careful. That's allegedly as well. I have to be very careful about what I say, considering where I am. People have been arrested for less. But that was the whole idea of it, innit? Like, snatch this one, cut my head off for this one. But also, please don't. You don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
You don't have to
It's just
cut
like,
your head off. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, super based. God is really cool. Whenever you take a holistic approach to the scriptures, you come away with a much deeper understanding of it, much deeper appreciation for it. Which is why whenever we look at the prophets, whenever we look at the New Testament, you learn from it, then you apply it back to the Torah, because the Torah is the foundation of the other two. So you can see echoes of what will later come throughout the Torah, as long as you're actually willing to pay attention to what's happening, even in the mundane things about like the dimensions of the ark and the type of material on the ark that can be representative of Christ. And it's really cool. It's a really deep study. Typology is awesome. Yeah.
Nothing's in there by accident.
Right. It is all intentional. It's all based on morality. It's all based on his love for us. It's all based on prophecy and goodness and demonstrating who he is. And I love that, like, even the little things, now granted, this gets into a big thing that I don't think you can actually justify, but the whole thing with the numbers of scripture, whenever you get into, like, in Genesis 1:1, for example, if I bring this up, this is a really cool thing. The first sentence in Hebrew is a divisible by 7. There's 7 words in it. Each of these numbers, if you count them up, they're, add up to 7. Like, there's like 13 sevens within just this sentence. It's amazing. And 7 is the number of completeness. So I might actually like do a video or a stream on just
them in there. That's how I'd have done it if I'd written the Bible.
Just write the number 7 itself.
No, I'd have had. Yeah. I'm just being stupid. Sorry, I should have.
Great. This is really cool. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with that. I would not use that as evidence for the Bible whatsoever, because it's very easy to fake. In fact, I actually have a book that is full of that here on my nightstand somewhere.
It's easy to fake what?
The connections that you can get from that. So like the Miracle of the 19s, for example. Also, the Mathematics Proves Holy Scriptures. This was by a Russian man, and he goes through specifically, it's not Carl Sabers. Why can't I think of his name right now? It's a pretty interesting book. It's Ivan something. But he goes through all of the mathematical values and all the things within it. And I might just like go through this at some point, but the values themselves, the gematria itself, adds to the number 7, and you have like crosses. There's a lot of really interesting things within this. So you have like the 3 towels as well for the crosses, and there's a lot of really interesting things you can make out of it because our brain likes patterns, our brain likes all this stuff. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily true or useful to be used for like evidence of the scriptures. But people still use it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's also that one. I think I remember verifying this when I was a teenager. I heard that it sounded a lot more cooler when I heard it than it actually is, but it's still kind of cool that if you start from the first tav in from Bereshit,
yeah,
and then you count 50 letters, you get a wow, and then you count 50
Mm-hmm.
and then it does it also again in Exodus, and then it does it backwards in Deuteronomy and
Leviticus.
Leviticus, and then
Numbers.
in Numbers, I
Sorry,
forget what
Numbers.
Numbers does. Or
Leviticus is the middle.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
forget where it is.
Leviticus does Yahweh.
Okay.
But Leviticus does it in like so the problem with it, Genesis and Exodus, it works just fine. It does do Torah, and these two, it does do Torah backwards, but you have to start in like the 3rd chapter of Deuteronomy, and Leviticus only happens like once, and it's a different pattern itself. Instead of it being every 50, it's every 8.
Okay.
So from like the first Yod, you can go out 8 and then get the Hey, and then get the Vav, and then get the Hey. So you can get Yahweh in the beginning of Leviticus. So you can get Torah, Yahweh, Torah, but backwards. And it like the whole Torah is pointing to Yahweh, and the whole Torah is Torah, but it's not very clean. It's not like, oh, it's in this exact same pattern every time. So even though you might be able to like use that, it again would be circumstantial.
It is
Circumstantial
like
is a
you
terrible
said,
term.
it's cool
Be
stuff,
weak
but
at
you
best.
definitely don't want to base anything off of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's cool that it
Right.
happened, and it's cool that it's in there, but it's not really something you want to uh base a sermon off of, or instruct
Right.
people on in some
Yeah.
it's any kind of meaningful extent.
Right. It's kind of like the Bereshit study, where the first word of the Bible can pseudo be a prophecy of Jesus coming on the cross. That you could force it into that, and I think maybe that was even intended, but that still wouldn't only be weak evidence for Christianity, for
Right.
both the Bible being true and for Christianity being the correct interpretation and the correct fulfillment of the Old Testament. But yeah. Anyway, lots of really cool things you can do. It's very easy to go down rabbit holes, and there's this tendency, which is why Gnosticism exists, of I want to learn secret knowledge in order to be special, in order to have this special, like it's like building up our pride. And it's like, oh, I know all of these random Hasidic things that the vast majority of people on this planet don't know because I went down a random rabbit hole of Kabbalah. So like less than 0.1% of the population of the earth knows things I know. I could be boastful about that, but do they even have value at all? I would rather have like the 60% that knows John 3:16 than the 0.1% that knows the secret knowledge of how a Dalit interacts with the Hay. Like,
I know a guy who's big on the Zohar, and uh he doesn't seem to be all there, but he functions, and he knows a lot, but he's a very odd fellow. And it kind of, you kind of get the feeling that kind of exploration, and because it does become occultic, it's demons and angels and wielding power, and I think it opens you up to a lot of unwholesome stuff.
Yeah, you start going down rabbit holes you should not be going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you get into like, I got into sacred geometry as a kid. Very stupid, very made up nonsense. But you can get into that, and it can take you down some stupid thing where you think like Martians are males and Earth, like Atlanteans were females, and the male Martians basically graped the female Atlanteans, and that's how we got the human species of male and female. And we're trying to actively disassociate our male implanted organs into our spirit.
Stop. You're gonna give Candace Owens ideas if she sees this.
It's so stupid, but it was super. Oh, it was not super popular. It has like millions of views back in like 2011 on YouTube,
Okay.
and I was like, "What is all this nonsense?" But you can go down some really stupid rabbit holes, and you can get trapped in the cycle of stupidity. And unless you are willing to question the stupidity that you've accepted, it's very hard to get out of those systems. It's like any other cults. Unless you're willing to say, hey, is my cult actually teaching me the truth? Can I critically examine it? You're not going to leave it. I critically examined Christianity to come into Christianity, and I've critically examined it since then dozens of times. Pretty much every new position I think about or talk about, I've critically examined. But whenever you do the same for like Rabbinic Judaism or any of these other cults, like JWs, Mormons, whatever, they fall apart very quickly.
Yeah.
That's kind of a tell. Like if you question something like a worldview or a political view or something, and people melt down, you know that they're in a weak position.
Right.
Me and Tommy were talking last night about particularly Jehovah's Witnesses in this case, but how they'll come into my work and they'll leave literature, and a lot of times on the way to work they'll be standing outside with a stand and some stuff, and I always read it to see, like, you know, what are they up to these days. And if you were to just read it, if you didn't notice on like the back where it has the contact information that it said like Watchtower Society, whatever, you would have no clue that it's I mean, they mention nothing that's unbiblical. And but they know what they're doing though, because if they're so different, wouldn't that be what you would focus on in your literature to be like, look, Christianity has got mainstream Christianity is missing out on this point, or this they're lacking this knowledge, and here's this. And otherwise, it just you'd read it and you're like, oh wow, this is a pretty good little gospel tract. And the thing is, like, if you have to lie to appeal to people,
right?
I don't understand how that doesn't go through every one of their minds. That I mean, I know there's a lot of heavy indoctrination that goes on in all sorts of those camps, but the idea that I mean, they have to be told, you know, they have to be told even when they're going door to door and talking and stuff, like, well, don't bring up this because you know, it might make people uncomfortable. Don't bring up this because they're not going to agree with that. And you wouldn't you think like, oh, why are they telling me I can't? So I can't. I'm sure they tell them that it's for the good, but at the same time, like it'd be weird for me to be deceptive on something that I actually believed in if I was thought I was helping people. It's just very strange. I don't understand.
Yeah. The whole notion of I have to trick you into my belief system.
Right.
I mean, there's another group that does that as well, where they just basically get drunk people to say something. And they're like, oh, you have
are
to
you talking about
people.
That group that rhymes with Muslims or somebody else?
Yeah, they that shall not be named.
There you go, Tommy. Hey, Tommy, you're so worried about the UK. Just start being do that. I want to say
look, you said it, not me. Right? I'm not associated. I'm just here. Like...
No one will know what you're talking about. Just say that group that rhymes with Muslims.
Yeah.
I saw this in a meme. I don't know if it's true.
It's big Latin. Yeah.
I saw a meme that said it was Kamala Harris saying, I'm going to play 3D chess. And I always want to use that when I'm being stupid. I'm playing 3D chess. I'm calling them Muslims and no one knows what I'm talking about now.
Yeah. It's, anyway. Yeah, they that shall not be named. it's just like, if you have to come up with something so obviously stupid or false, or position yourself in a way that you're not actually believing it, because it's like, oh yeah, obviously, like, even for some of the so the official position of the JWs is that he died on a stake, not on a cross. So if you see any JW material on a cross, they're already lying to you. Because their internal stuff all have stakes. If you look at the covers of the JWs, it's changed over the years. Like back in the 40s, they all had crosses on it, but now it's all stakes. So they have the 3 stakes on the front of their logo for the internal stuff. If they're sending you material and it has a cross on it, they're already not portraying their position accurately, even beyond the like, oh yeah, Jesus is not God, he's the angel Michael.
Yeah, which
Pretty,
is a big deal. And
yeah,
and you'd think that's what they would start with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's very strange.
No,
Mormons just do the same thing with how they. Well, I think that's not on topic, but
right, yeah. No, they start, like, JWs always start their stuff with like, did you know that Constantine corrupted the Bible? It's like, no, I didn't. Like, well, what version of the Bible do you believe in? Oh, the New World Translation. Like, what's that based on? The King James. Well, what's different about it? We just changed some words to change the theology a little. It's okay.
Nothing big, nothing major.
What do you mean? Yeah. Anyway, super dumb. Okay. I've gotten ads for Mormons down under. How are you getting ads for Mormonism in Australia? That is wild to me. Where have they gone? Where are they going?
They get around.
I was literally about to say, where haven't they been?
This is the proof they multiply. So, anyway, then the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, and they obviously saw the giant jumbotron in the sky. So the people assembled about Aaron and said to him, "Arise, make us gods, and we'll go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." They're only saying this, according to the rabbis, because Satan has tricked them already at this point. Obviously, there's like getting impatient. And Aaron said to them, "Tear off the gold rings which are in your ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me." Now, in the rabbinic position, again, they don't view the women as going along with this. The women were too crafty and too faithful to God. So it's actually all of the earrings of the men that were made into these golden calf, which is a strange thing. Directly not what the Bible says. Then all the people tore off the gold rings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. Then he took this from their hand and fashioned it with the graving tool and made it into a molten calf. The people here is masculine, I believe. So even though it's the word for people, it has you could just like everything's gendered. So because it's not feminine directly, they're just making it into men did it instead of the females did it anyway. And he took this from their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool and made it into a molten calf. And they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt." And Aaron looked and built an altar before it. And Aaron made a proclamation and said, "Tomorrow shall be a feast to Yahweh." So obviously, as we went over a couple of streams ago, that this is idolatry in the law that they already accepted, that they were sealed under by the blood. They had already accepted this law, that they're not to make any statue, and especially not to like make statues of animals that you worship like the Egyptians. So now he's using an Egyptian god to say that this god brought you out of the land of Egypt. Super evil.
Yeah, and
super
notice
pagan.
too how in the midst of idolatry he's talking about tomorrow shall be a feast to Yahweh, and it makes me think of like all these churches with the rainbow flags in them, or like just because someone is being idolatrous, that doesn't mean they stop using the name Christian or they stop saying that they're worshiping God.
Yes.
Look at this example in the Bible too, like in the time with Ahaz and Jezebel, it's like they still have their Yahweh worship, but they're also worshiping Baal at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, and up north, they even made their own version of the temple with and had their own priests and everything.
Yep. Mm-hmm. The Israelites, whenever they split under
Rehoboam.
Rehoboam and who's the adversary?
Jeroboam is like the
Jeroboam.
one they keep
Jeroboam is
repeating.
the super evil dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
He followed in the line of Jeroboam and did evil in the sight of Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeroboam built an altar, a rival temple to Yahweh, and said that this is Yahweh, and then he put a idol into it to worship. So the Israelites out of the Judah still worshipped Yahweh somewhat. Now they obviously put up Asherah poles. They obviously did paganism as well, but the Israelites only did paganism up until they were destroyed, which is why they were destroyed a couple generations before the Jews were. But evil. This is the type of stuff that God kills all of them for later on in the prophets and in the exile. Yet, why is Aaron not killed here? He's given this like Aaron's sons were killed for just shirking duty, just like going and sleeping with women while they're supposed to be serving in the temple, and they're killed for that. Why is Aaron not killed here?
Wait, was that was Eli's sons, wasn't it? That the Aaron's sons died for offering the wrong incense.
Were they killed for the incense?
Or were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
was
thinking of-
confused with
Yeah, the
Hophni
strange
and
fire.
Phineas. Hophni and
Maybe.
Phineas are sleeping with the temple prostitutes and eating the fat off of the
Right.
sacrifices.
Yeah. I combined them in my head.
Chris, your accidental confusion there. Actually, I never thought about the that there's two sets of two sons that
Who
were doing
both
bad
died.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I bet they're compared in rabbinic literature. That's exactly the kind of stuff they do. Well, it's like comparing Daniel and Joseph,
Right. Yeah. Or Lot and Noah. They're compared a lot. They're compared a lot in the New Testament too.
Oh, you asked though why Aaron wasn't killed? Maybe like he wasn't fully idolatrous in his heart. He was just kind of spineless because it's all the people asking him to do this, and maybe he just capitulates out of cowardice, but he's not really wholeheartedly behind it. I mean, Yahweh's obviously not pleased with what he's doing. He's super pissed off, but it might be where in his heart he secretly was still loyal to Yahweh, but he was doing this just as a way. Oh, the people are going to hurt me. But he ends up lying to Moses. Some dumb lie. Was it? We threw the gold in the fire, and the cat came out.
Yeah.
Just dumb.
He was just trying to hide it too. Yeah. One thought would be he's an anointed of the Lord. So he was anointed with the Lord with Moses to go and serve and to bring them out. The anointed of the Lord are not typically cursed or killed in general. So you have this like set level of protection around them, where even Saul, who had sinned for decades at that point, whenever he was killed, the man who helped kill him was put to death by David, because you're not to harm the anointed of the Lord. So it may have been that the Lord gave him extra mercy, extra grace, because he was anointed of the Lord, and because of what you said, that he was being slightly coerced into this thing. Now, the fact he didn't just confess right away to Moses is its own problem, but the fact that God was lenient with Aaron is also interesting, of looking at God's perspective and God's character, that he's not some wrathful smiting God that any mistake what you make whatsoever. Because if he was, a lot more people would be killed in the Old Testament. He has patience, he has endurance, he has forbearance, he has grace, even in the Old Testament, even though this law, according to what Aaron had already agreed to, deserved death. What he did here deserved death. God still gave him grace because of his anointing on him. And we have that same anointing, even maybe a greater anointing, with our relationship with God now under the Holy Spirit. So we are anointed of the Lord. God has much more patience and forbearance with us. And we are, written in the Lamb's Book of Life. We have this freedom in us. So there's that love and grace being poured out there. So this is like a snapshot or a tease of the grace of the new covenant that will come in, that even murderers and adulterers can be forgiven under the cross. Whereas in the Old Testament, you can't be forgiven for those sins, which is why David says, I wish there was a way for me to be forgiven in Psalm 51. And ultimately he says, the only thing that I could even offer you is a broken and contrite spirit, a repentant heart, Lord. And it's beautiful. So we see a lot of these like foreshadowings of the new covenant, of what we have under Christ throughout the Old Testament. But even in the Torah, we see a lot of it. So you see that with a lot of the family dynamics there. But even Aaron here deserved death. God spared him. Pretty cool. But so the next day they arose early and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. The play is a wild way to phrase that. Yeah. They begin maybe some orgies, but yeah. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, go down at once, for your people whom you brought up out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. So again, this gets into the Bible study that we did on Friday, not online, for those who are wondering, but me and Tommy and a few others. We were going through how in Romans 1 and 2, the first sin that you do whenever you fall away from God is sexual immorality. So we have sexual immorality being the first step of depravity. Then beyond that, you go into the other sins that it lists. And here, the corrupting of themselves, the first thing that they do is worship an idol and then have intercourse, but not in a good way. Likely it was like a first come, first serve, do whatever you want type beat.
Pretty typical paganism throughout the entire planet,
right.
It's...
Right. Yeah. You look at Hinduism, it's all just sex. You look at Greek, Roman, it's all just sex. Like they have specific ways in which you do the sex, but it's all just that. Especially if you look at the Hindu temples, like there's depictions of everything on it. You got bestiality, you got bisexual, you got anything.
Greek, in Greek artwork too, you see a lot of that weird stuff. And then there's even
the centaurs are not just for show.
that Egyptian papyrus that looks like it was some nutty 13-year-old drew in the back of math class of you know what I'm talking about, where there's just there's just Egyptian willikers everywhere doing all sorts of things.
Just a lot of cat type stuff, the sexy frog. You throw your cats in the chat, McCain. Anyway, so yeah, it's the religion of the world is sex. There's a primary focus on it beyond anything else. It is the most important thing in it. But and we see that in the Bible. Everywhere that they go away from God, they immediately start doing depraved sexual conduct. They were doing temple prostitution, but the temple prostitution they're doing is like boys, girls, men, women, both like effeminate, not feminine. Like I can get into the specifics that they were doing, but like pornography nowadays is not nearly as explicit as what they were doing sometimes back then. And there's you can see some really messed up stuff that they do now. It's still not nearly as bad as what some people were doing back then. Like imagine a lot of like more of the, I'm not gonna get into it. It's gross, man. Anyway, so they made the golden calf, start worshiping it, and they start having a good time in depravity and evil. They quickly turn aside from who?
Is he mad? Like, he does realize we're reading from the Old Testament, right? Which wasn't written in Greek. Is he like, what are you smoking, bro? I'm going to put you in timeout. You naughty boy.
Yeah, the old Greek is different than this translation. Are you talking about the Septuagint that was written after this?
Goodness
He's been on about a whole bunch of stuff saying I can't tell what he is. I can't tell even if he's a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim.
His religion is internet troll.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like, because a lot of it is just incoherent statements.
Sebastian
But
doesn't want to
they're
know. I'm
just
gonna
like
spare your child ears. This Alex explainer will not be tolerated. based based in Greek pilled. Anyway. So I found like the chat I did with Israel. I mean, if he says anything crazy, like he said something about Jews that YouTube deleted, which is really funny. If he says anything wild, just time out. The chat I had with Israel earlier today was just full of just both utter vitriol, just like straight hate and just nonsense craziness.
The one guy carried over, and he's just as active as he was for that whole time.
Yeah, I think he left though.
Y'all gotta realize these people a lot of times they're crazy. I'll be talking to somebody on Twitter, and I'm like treating them like a sane person, and then halfway through I go, "Oh,
no, you're not crazy, or
crazy person.
You're crazy."
Yeah, the internet just has crazy people.
But
there's also people who love attention, you know. So there's that.
Yeah. It do be wilding out here. The game's so funny, man.
It's honestly the code.
Tommy, I'm mad at you. I'm going to tell you why, because I'm over here this close to falling asleep, and you're like 8 hours ahead of me, and it makes me look so stupid. It's like 9 p.m. over here. You look wide awake. It's like 3 in the morning.
I was tired, and then I started getting rage baited. So like now I'm like ready for action. Like, no.
Hey, what's the name of the guy who's being annoying and making Tommy mad? Say something about my hair. Insult my hair.
I'll put him on the I'll put him on the naughty stick.
Okay, well, insult my hair and make me mad because I'm about to pass out. I'm so tired.
Yeah, JP, that is the guy from earlier today. JP was there. He saw some of it. It's been an interesting day. Anyway. So they have quickly turned aside from the way which I commanded them. They have made for themselves a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed to it and said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt." And Yahweh said to Moses, "I have seen this people, and behold, they are stiff-necked people. Now then let me alone, that my anger may burn against them and that I may consume them, and I will make you a great nation." So he's going to kill all of them, which would have been just in his sight because they literally agreed in his law, we will not do this, and if we do it, we will be killed. They immediately do it, and God would be just in killing them because they agreed to the terms of the condition. They signed the EULA and then immediately broke it.
Also note the fact, though, that Yahweh is saying this out loud to Moses. He didn't need to. He could have just thought this. So be asking yourself, well, why is he saying this to Moses?
Right. Yeah.
You know what else is interesting that I never really paid attention for, but in the Hebrew where it says, "These are your God, Ele Elohecha," it's plural. And so that's interesting because isn't the calf, did it say that it says it's only one, right?
I was wondering about that too.
Or
These
was it like
gods. Yeah, it's plural. Yeah, that's interesting. Again, so like, it's a golden calf, which is.
Go back to the verb for brought and see if it's plural.
Where brought. They're gods.
Right.
Or
they brought you.
Yeah.
So that's plural also.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that
so then it would be multiple calves or multiple gods or just
I guess they're just attributing multiple gods to the one calf, maybe.
Oh, that could be it too. Yeah, it's because he inscribed on it. He used a tool to make it, and then he inscribed likely on it with the. Let me go back up to that. Then he tore off all the gold rings, and he took this from their hands and fashioned it with a graving tool and turned it into a molten calf. And
click on that and make sure it's singular on calf.
The molten. Yeah, it's singular.
Yeah.
So both of those would be singular. It's feminine singular. It's masculine singular.
Maybe Yahweh and the calf.
Oh,
because then they have a feast to
maybe.
Yahweh the next day.
Yeah, but it's still gods plural here. So these are your
Yeah.
gods, and then later on
true.
it's also gods there. So it's the exact same terminology.
I bet there's
plural
so
both
many
cases.
commentaries about it. I wish I heard.
These are your gods, O Israel. It's super interesting because we also get in the I guess the Shema is not the Shema's before this. Like we at least have the first commandment where it's the Lord is your God.
Oh yeah, Deuteronomy 6:4.
Right. Yeah, the Deuteronomy 6:4 is the Shema Israel. But I was thinking like in Exodus 20 you have the first law, which is literally your God is Yahweh. And it's singular. So the fact that it's gods here, like where's the other gods coming from? Yeah. In it beans. Thanks, Chase. Appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm wondering if they're like interpreting Elohim to be plural, and if he's called that. And they're anyway. Rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Go down.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. That could be a study in and of itself. So, now again, as Christian brought up, he could have just wiped them out. He could have just, Thanos snapped them out of existence, or he's on the mountain already. They're already sinning before he gets down from the mountain. Just Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot was safe on the mountain. Just Sodom and Gomorrah and the people, and just start over. But he didn't. Even though they deserved corporal punishment, he still spared them and then did individual punishment with the Levites. So this would be, again, a sense of the grace being applied of God, as he's hoping that Moses helps and intercedes for the people in the same way that Abraham helped and interceded for the people. But whereas Abraham kind of failed in his intercession because there weren't 10 holy people in Sodom and Gomorrah and the whole plain, there's not 10 righteous people down there. In the same way, there might have been more than 10 righteous people. Likely there was, because all the Israel or the Levites that were willing to serve Yahweh in this instance. You have more than 10 righteous people here. So whenever the intercession happens, it's successful, which might in and of itself be an interesting typology of Jesus for him interceding for us. And, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do, looking at Jesus, but we have God's grace here being applied. And yes, indeed, another W God moment. Indeed. Yeah. Then Moses entreated the favor of Yahweh his God and said, "O Yahweh, why does your anger burn against your people whom you brought out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a strong hand? Why should the Egyptians speak, saying with evil intent he brought them out to kill them in the mountains and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your burning anger and relent concerning doing harm to your people. Remember Abraham." So again, Abraham's covenant in his at this point, it's interesting because did Moses already learn about Abraham from Yahweh, or was this already a tradition in the people of the Israelites whenever they were leaving from the Exodus? Did they keep traditions of the patriarchs throughout their whole duration of the exile or of their slavery in Egypt?
I would imagine so, because like with them taking Joseph's bones with them when they left,
they knew about that hundreds of years later. Right. Yeah.
I was thinking a lot of times nomadic groups will have oral traditions that are thousands and thousands of years old. So it's probably that. Right. The other thing I think is interesting to point out is there's like this is a multi-prong argument he's having to advocate for Israel. Well, first, Yahweh invites Moses to advocate on behalf of Israel, which is Christ-like in its typology. But then notice how this first argument is this recurring theme of the reputation of Yahweh within the eyes of the nations. This isn't the first time this pops up either. This is a big theme when you're reading the Torah, talking about doing things for my glory, being seen in the eyes of the nations. And then from there, he goes on to, remember, you promised Abraham you would multiply his.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to look. So a lot of times in the Hebrew, if it says va yomer, like, and he said, it means that the person he's speaking to did not respond. And so if it's just the continuing subject from before and it's just volume aired, it means they said something, the other person just stared at him, and then they kept talking again. And so I'm looking, but I don't see that happening here. So I think he's just making, he's just making his different prongs of his argument.
Yeah. Remember Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, or Israel. Remember them, and it just keeps going. So it's just one long continual speech there. But it's interesting that you point that out. Like, he went to the nations first, and then he goes to the covenant second, even though the covenant should be more important. Just logically thinking, the covenant should be the most important. Now, there is some interpretation from the rabbinics that the last argument given is the strongest, so you give it last.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe he's doing that, or maybe he's actually like, his primary focus was on, why would you do all the work that you did to bring us out here just to kill us? You're gonna make your name a byword among the nations. Do not profane your name, Yahweh. And then also remember the covenant you have with this people, because he still could have the covenant be applied only through Moses. He definitely could. That wouldn't be breaking the covenant. So the other argument is
he's the heir of Abraham, so it wouldn't be breaking the covenant.
It would not be breaking the covenant. So he could have restarted with Moses covenantally and not had any effect, especially because they broke the law and deserved death. So he may have actually been using this argument as the primary argument, because that's the only argument
that he has.
That he has legitimately against it. I will multiply that your seed is the stars of the heavens and all this language I've spoken. So like, there are 1 million strong or so at this moment, but they could just start over, and they could just, get back to this point.
Part of it, I feel like he just wants Moses to advocate on behalf of the people, even if his argument's crap. It's like, it's, having an attorney that's not that great is better than just nothing at all.
Yeah.
Those shall readeth the KGF only some guy.
I don't understand why we're reading the LSB when we all clearly know that the only Bible is the KJV.
Yeah, I mean, if it was good enough for Jesus, it was good enough for me. Yeah. I mean, I could switch, but I don't want to. Anyway. So, yeah, like, this is just, it's really cool. Like, all these little nuances that you see throughout the text we can see how God wants us to interact with him. And I love that the name of his people are Israel, to struggle with God, that we are able to have these dialogues with him. Obviously Moses was a prophet, obviously Abraham is a prophet. But they are like, they know God face to face because of their heart. God chose them because of their hearts. So God is choosing these men for the purpose that he has for them. Like, he chose all men at all time period for the purposes they have with them. If we're able to respond to that call, including us, if we respond to that call, he has a relationship with us. He desires a relationship with us. And we can see the heart of God, not just the heart of man, not just the law, but the heart of God shining through the Torah. That he cares enough to have debate with us, that he cares enough to have a relationship with us, to struggle with us. Because it's not just man struggling with God, it's God struggling with man to get them to do his will. Because we have free will. Surprise, surprise.
Well,
yeah. Allegedly. Yeah. Will I ever go through Deuteronomy 32? I might go through the whole Torah. We'll see.
Ooh, that's a good
I might
chapter.
jump back.
Who asked that?
Sebastian.
Sebastian, have you been reading Mike Heiser? I bet you have.
He's been going through, I believe,
I'll pay
Genesis.
a fortune for a Netanyahu signed KJV Bible, like an author signing or something. Crazy comment.
I'll pay him.
Crazy.
I got some goofballs on here.
Yeah, they're both my moms too, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, Chase is a good guy. I'm streaming with him tomorrow.
Right.
Not on my channel. I'll be streaming with Chase and Andrew on their channel tomorrow, or recording the video. I think we're streaming on Islam, I think. Either Islam or on Bible contradictions, one of the two. But we'll be together tomorrow. I just clicked. I mean, click. Yeah. So pretty cool. But God loves us enough to have struggle with us. Like, imagine that. Like, we are nothing. We are literally dust. We are created in his image, yes, but like, who are we to God? And yet God cares about us enough to struggle with us.
And notice
to allow us to struggle with him and to struggle with us.
Compare this with the last time he struggled with God and it made God mad. God says that he's appointed Moses to set his people free from Egypt. And Moses is like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And that makes God angry. When you have this role to advocate for people and you're not doing it, that makes him mad. This is different. So yeah, he's still struggling with God, but this time he's not saying I'm not adequate. He's coming up with whatever argument he possibly can to try to keep these people from being wiped out. And that is what Yahweh likes. And that's what he's invited him to do. So I guess not all struggles created equal.
Yeah. And think about the character development from the burning bush to this moment.
Right.
How far Moses himself has come in the last year of time. Like, that is crazy. Where he goes from, I don't want to do that. God sent someone else. No.
He's stepping into the fire and being the Malach himself.
To standing between God and the people that God's angry at. Yeah. So instead of going, like, he was afraid to go to the people that God was angry at because of the fear of the people. Now he's standing before God to support the people, not afraid. Or he might have been afraid. We don't know if he was like literally shaking at this moment in time, but he's at least courageous enough to talk about it, to talk to him, to talk to God and intercede for the people. That's awesome.
That'll preach.
Yeah.
You said that'll preach.
Yeah.
There's Tommy's channel. Christian Gadfly's channel is also that, but substitute Tommy's Testament with Christian Gadfly.
That was deep.
That's deep. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's the Bible's so cool. Oh. Yeah. Oh, when are we gonna record a video?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Yeah, you.
So there is someone else who who it is, and he needs to get a pig mask. And then
yeah.
Well, I guess I'll text you after this, but we can film that before.
Right. My part doesn't really necessarily depend on their part. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Yahweh. So Yahweh relented concerning the harm which he has said he would do to his people. Again, getting into like open theism. Why would he say this and then immediately change it if there wasn't like actually a possibility in which he would have killed them? Like, no, hold on. I'll eventually do a video on open theism versus closed theism. Then Moses turned and went down from the mountain, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in his hand, tablets which were written on both sides. They were written on one side and the other. They took this to mean that it was written through one side into the other. You can also just say it was like double-sided pages. They're not literally bored all the way through. But the idea was he used one finger stroke to write on both sides at the same time. So somehow he was like curving the bullet like wanted and writing on both sides at the same time, or is literally like the same letter all the way through. Who knows? But we have God's own handwriting, literally his handwriting on the tablets for Moses to bring to the people to be a testimony to them, the tablets of the testimony in his hand, so that they may worship Yahweh and know the work that happened on Mount Sinai for generations to come. Because the purpose of the Passover is for them to understand from generation to generation that they were slaves and that they're now freed, and they're freed because God loves them and chose them. We also have this, we have the pillars, we have so many things because God knows that people will instantaneously run away from him whenever they forget about the goodness that he already did in their lives. And this happens to everyone. it's easy for me to fall back into sin when I have had literal miracles happening throughout most of my life. Like I've seen crazy stuff. I've seen like there's people in my church who were raised from the dead through prayer. Like I've seen some crazy stuff. And yet I still forget at times all of the miracles, all of the triumphs, all the victories, all the times that God was there with me in that moment. And because I'm focusing on the here and now, it's very easy to remove our past with God, our relationship with God, the triumphs God has done in our lives, and focus on, oh, I've been bored for 39 days, therefore I'm going to make a golden idol and then do an orgy around it. It's very easy to be like, oh, I haven't been directly in relationship with God. I haven't been reading my Bible for a couple of weeks. I haven't been praying for months. I haven't been in fellowship in a church around other Christians, iron sharpening iron for years. You forget about God. He becomes lesser and lesser in your life until he's gone. So he gave them all of these physical possessions that they didn't have. They couldn't debate it. Because, obviously the rabbinics love to debate everything. But if you have a literal stone tablet with God's hand carving on it, that have like letters floating, if you want to say the letters are floating, but like practically miraculous stone and the staff that budded, which is miraculous, and the manna that isn't degrading, there to look at, to feel, to see the presence of, to feel the weight of Yahweh physically in that location. You're not going to be forgetting about God. Yet, even with all of that, even with all those measures, for hundreds of years, the Jews still practiced polytheism and every kind of evil we can imagine.
You brought it up, Chris, that I think is a really good point and something very important for people to consider. This is more of like people that want to jump down my throat because I keep Torah, but you brought up that they were saved first, they were and freed first, and then the Torah was given to them. Because a lot of what I'll hear is that the Torah was like a slave master, or if God gave it to subjugate the Jews for their disobedience and things, and it's just a really not biblical stance. And I think the way you phrased it, or what you said earlier, points that out pretty quickly. Besides, obviously all the Psalms and everything, but yeah, you were saved first. The Passover, God saved Israel from Egypt, and then he gave them the Torah. It wasn't, because that's also a good lesson for people who think that keeping the Torah gains them salvation. It's backwards. God saves you first, and then you get the
Gives you the
Torah.
law. Yeah.
Because he didn't save them because they were keeping the law.
Yeah.
I have one last comment on the idea of like seeing a miracle and then turning away anyway, and then I'm going to get off because I'm exhausted, and it just makes me more and more mad the more I look at Tommy. I'm so tired. When I was
4 a.m. for him, yeah.
When I was 22, I was praying and fasting for a wife, and I was woken up in the night, and I literally heard God's voice, and he said, I want to help you. I'm going to help you. And like within 3 days, I found my wife. Okay.
Wow.
But then fast forward 3 years later, and I was an atheist, and I stayed an atheist for about a year. No, and all these people are like, well, if God would just appear to me, I would believe it. No, you won't.
No.
You're going to go back on that with your materialist philosophy and go, it was just psychosomatic. It was coincidence. You will explain it away. And so those kind of amazing experiences, they're going to be just as much influenced by your philosophy and worldview as your worldview is influenced by your experiences. So, yeah, but then I did become a Christian again. So that testimony is on my YouTube channel. If you need help sleeping tonight, you can put that on. All right, y'all have a good one. I'm out of here.
Right, before you go, he says, can you put this up on the screen so Gavla can see? Just want a link to the commentary he brought up.
So Unseen Realm by Mike Heiser.
Oh yeah, Mike Heiser.
Yeah. It's a you can find it on Amazon. He also has a lot of videos. Just put in Mike Heiser Deuteronomy 32 and it'll pop up.
Amen.
Yeah. All right, God bless you guys. I'll see y'all later.
Take it easy.
Good night, Mr. Gadfly.
Yes. McCain said, "I'm convinced that when Defending the Lion goes live, it's the equivalent of turning on the Batman signal for heretics."
I was trying to show him. I got a frog for him.
Oh yeah!
I was trying to show him, but the legs come off. So, but yeah,
no, the closest I got is my little Green Lantern rubber ducky.
You know, Karen got it for me
while
at my
you guys
baptism.
are at it.
Yes, yes.
The green
This
team.
is a screenshot, boys. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
It's
I don't know how I always end up having something.
For that acronym that Karen loves. You know that frog, fully rely on God. She got it for my baptism and she sent it to me. I was like, oh, bless your heart.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Based. Don't talk about my woman like that. She might hear you.
Yeah, as soon as I mentioned the frog, honestly.
Oh, I didn't get that context at first. It's so much funnier. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I've been holding in my urethra.
Hold on.
You want to do that? You want to make sure your urethra's in there at all times.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to seep out or anything. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm gonna take my glasses off for a second.
Yep, I still actually the last time Chris went to the bathroom, I think I launched my GoFundMe to get me some new glasses, and so far nobody's contributed, which I find very suspicious.
That's it. It's like it's almost like they don't want us to be able to see. It's like, what are they hiding?
Big eyes.
Yeah,
they're behind it all.
Yeah. The
So
comments
Tommy,
have
did
been
you finally get some rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had some sleep, and then when I woke up, I said to Chris, I said, what chapters? And he sent them through to me, and I started reading them, and I went into interlinear, and I started tangenting, and I eventually just gave up. I said, I'll just wait for the actual study. I'd rather just be here, and it's because it's better. It's better like this anyway, isn't it? But yeah, I don't. Yeah, isn't he doing a live after this as well? Good luck.
Oh,
to him.
is he? I don't know.
Right.
Because he did one before. I know he was earlier today. He was, and that one I only got to see a little bit of because I had to do some work. But that one was super interested, and I did want to tease Chris a bit because that guy was asking some questions. I think that was similar ones that I would ask, and he didn't seem very convinced by Chris's answers, and I was thinking like, but it was a very interesting talk, and I didn't know there. I know there's Karaites. I know that sect of Judaism, but I don't think that's what he considered himself. Is that correct, Chris? Israel Horowitz. He's not a Karaite, is he?
No.
Okay, because that's the only kind of Jew
to
I
them,
knew
but he's not. Yeah.
That didn't adhere to the oral law and refused it. So
yeah, no,
very interesting guy.
To be fair, the vast majority of Jews are secular, so they're pretty much Torah only folk to begin with. They don't even really keep to the Torah much. They're not Torah observant. They might say they're Torah observant, but they would not actually hold to the rabbinic tradition in general. Like rabbinic Judaism is still a subset of, like, it's the minority of Jews would actually be any form of Orthodox. Yeah. So you have other non-Orthodox sects that do keep Torah that are not Karaites, but they're more like just nominal Jews who are just like, they just read the Bible and trust it. Which is pretty based. I would just say, you're missing 27 books of it. But, yeah.
What was that one?
They that shall not be named. Anyway. So
where is the cow mug?
Where is the cow mug?
I was wondering that earlier. I said the moo juice.
Possibly the worst mug ever created. Diabolical. He's gone to get it as well. That's great.
Oh yeah.
Great. going to be a pilot, Greg?
It is
Bring it back, or we
it's
riot.
it's supposed to be a cow, but
Yeah.
it is proportioned in very strange ways. It's more of like it looks more like a tumor with a cow theme.
I think it looks demonic.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cow in my grave.
All right. Let me just go ahead and do this real quick.
Look out.
See that. But then also, I put in my white liquid just for you, so my cow is factually correct. So I got my white liquid mug.
We can't hear you, by the way.
What? You can't hear me?
I can hear him.
Oh, can you? I can't hear.
You can't hear me?
Uh-oh.
But now, can you hear me? Steven?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Tommy?
I can't hear a word you're saying, bro.
Oh,
You
wow.
can't hear me? Oh, no.
Hang on. Let me live. I will live.
What about now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I sorted it.
Oh, there we go.
I can hear you.
Sort out. Anyway, yeah, I got my mug. The Moo Moog is back in action.
Which is, you'd think with a little foresight there, Chris, that during the Golden Calf talk that you'd have the...
Right. Oh, man, I should have. Yeah, but I got my white liquid and my mug. Just for you, big boy.
And
Anyway.
Sherlock is back. Everything is well.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Omar being
trying to find the Endure comment was
Yeah.
so funny. so good. So I'm trying to like
his freedom subscription ran out, Brit problems. Yeah. Anyway.
That's the police.
you couldn't hear the freedom from coming over here. Anyway. Now that I'm all sauced up on my mug juice. Now the tablets were the work of God. The writing of God engraved on the tablets. Then Joshua heard the sound of the people. Oh, also, if God isn't physical, how did this happen? I speak both for they that shall not be named and rabbinics. Then Joshua heard the sound of the people as they shouted, and he said to Moses, "There is a sound of war in the camp," but he said, "It is not the sound of the cry of triumph, nor is the sound of the cry of defeat, but the sound of singing I hear." I think that is literally like to sing, but it don't necessarily mean singing. If you were hearing a choir, would you think that there was a war happening?
Oh, interesting. I never really thought about that.
So if Joshua mistook the sound the people were making for war, were they singing or were they moaning? Was it like loud grunts and other type sounds that they were being made? I think it's actually part of the evidence for them like doing an orgy.
That is very interesting because I never really thought about that, and when you mentioned it, I thought, well, like if you're at a stadium and for a sports game or something, it's going to be a loud noise. But then I thought, well, with all those people down there, it would kind of always sound like that, and so it would have had to sound different to Joshua for him to, and so it wouldn't just be that it would be like noisy. It would be. Yeah, I think there's something to
war
what you said.
Yeah. So that is actually one of the older interpretations, is that they were literally just going around.
Being like Shaitan in the marketplace.
Right. Yeah. How did you manage to make this story worse? So interestingly, in the Moabite stuff, we see the man go in with the prostitute, and then the dude revs a spear through both of them. Whenever we look at this, and with that context in mind, think about this. Now it happened as soon as Moses came near the camp that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger burned. And he threw, so again, if this dancing is a euphemism, and Moses' anger burned, and he threw the tablets from his hands and shattered them at the foot of the mountain. Then he took the calf which they had made and burned it with fire and ground it to powder and scattered it over the surface of the water and made the sons of Israel drink it. Then Moses said to Aaron, "What did this people do to you that you have brought such great sin upon them?" And Aaron said, "Do not let the anger of my Lord burn. You know the people yourself, that they are prone to evil. Indeed, they said to me, 'Make gods for us, or we will go before us.' For this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. And I said to them, whoever has any gold, let them tear it off." So they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. Obviously, he's lying. Now, Moses saw that the people were out of control, for Aaron had let them get out of control to be a derision among their enemies. So again, they're going to make fun of the Israelites for what they're doing in the desert. So Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, "Whoever is for Yahweh, come to me." Now, mind you, he had already destroyed the golden calf at this moment in time, and yet the people are still out of control. So what are they doing to be out of control, not noticing that their idol, their god that they just made, was destroyed? If they were just dancing around the idol, not doing any other activity, the idol's already destroyed at this point, yet they're still engaged in an activity. And then all the sons of Levi gathered, and then he said to them, "Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, every man among you put his sword upon his thigh and go back and forth from gate to gate in this camp and kill every man his brother and every man his friend and every man his neighbor." So the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and about 3,000 men of the people fell that day. How is it that they identified who the specific people they were that should be killed? If they're going through and killing everyone who's having intercourse, that makes sense. If they're just going in and killing indiscriminately, that's not very just. So if they're like witnessing like pockets of orgies happening, then he could go in and like kill the people who are participating in that. And it's specifically counting the men, so it may have been 3,000 women who were also slain. Or the men might have been doing something by themselves. You make it as worse as you want to interpret it. But yeah. Either way, I would say that the interpretation of them doing some form of depravity with one another is somewhat likely. Maybe it's not it's not super obvious, but there are enough euphemisms used that you could get a sexual connotation from it, because similar words are used in other places for intercourse. So who knows? But they may have been, out there getting crazy with it.
Well, I think I can't remember where you were at with in the verses, but but like, so the word, like the root
no, you don't.
To cry out isn't that the same verb used for when Pharaoh sees Abraham and Sarah together? When he said, like, I think in the King James it says like he saw them sporting, like saw them through the window sporting with.
Right.
I think that might be the same word.
Well, if it isn't, that's just obviously sex. But there's a lot of euphemisms for intercourse all throughout the Torah, because it tries to be a little bit more decent. Whenever it explains, even like sin, like what happens with Noah probably was him being sodomized by his son.
Oh, do you think so?
That's my personal opinion. Yeah, I think that's somewhat the most likely. Now, I would also describe that with, and my video on Friday is going to be about that topic. But my view is if Ham was the one who sodomized him, but he was anointed of the Lord, which he was, then again, he is not to be killed because he's anointed of the Lord. Therefore, he wasn't cursed. His son was cursed in place of him. So his progeny, because if Ham is cursed, then he had kids, his kids would be under that curse as well. So he just skipped cursing Ham to go straight to his son. And you might say, oh, it's a little bit of like divine providence with the Canaanites being the ones who come against Israel. Maybe that was all planned out. And the critics, the atheists, are like, oh, well, that's just obviously like whitewashing history to make the Canaanites guilty of a sin that they didn't actually do in order for the Jews to exterminate them. But I'm fine just saying that Ham or Canaan, if Canaan was present, but Ham was the one who did that to his dad, because it says that he awoke and he knew what happened to him. So if he awoke and it was just a man looking at him, how could you physically tell if that happened? Now, if you were sodomized and your bum was sore, you can know it happened.
Mm.
But there's so many different views of that, different questions on that. Cow mug can be God if you take your pants off. No, let's not. Let's not. That mug was at Sinai. Yeah. It is one of the views. The other views I was not super impressed by, especially the one of him having intercourse with his wife. So like Ham committing incest with his mom. I don't think that's very likely myself.
Mm.
Anyway, I thought it was voyeurism. Again, it could be, but how did he know that he had voyeurism done to him? So, because it doesn't say he was informed, it says that he knew. So, if he intrinsically knew that it was just voyeurism, how did he? How? But anyway, I'm open to other views. I just think that one's more likely. Which, ironically, the rabbis agree with me on that. So, I'm in league with them. So, they put to death all the people in the camp that might be doing that. Now, it happened the next day. Actually, I think I skipped a little bit. Oh, the 3,000 men. So then Moses said, "Be ordained today to Yahweh, for every man has been against his son and against his brother, in order that he may bestow a blessing upon you today." Now, I'm getting hiccups. Now, it happened on the next day that Moses said to the people, "You yourselves have committed a great sin, but now I'm going up to Yahweh. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin." So he's already interceded for the people successfully, and now he's also trying to make atonement that they are forgiven. It's not just interceding, but also salvation, atonement. That the debt, the sin is being taken away from them. So again, gets into the typology of Jesus. And Moses returned to Yahweh and said, "Alas, this people has committed a great sin, and they have made gods of gold for themselves. But now, if you will forgive their sin, but if not,
God bless.
Please blot me out from your book which you have written." So the Lamb's Book of Life, possibly. But blot me out from salvation, blot me out. So like Paul interceding for his people of like, I wish that I could be sent to hell for Israel to be saved now. So he has such a love for his people that he's even willing to die in place of them. And this gets into the typology of Christ. Christ loves the world so much that even though God will not forgive their sins, if you forgive their sin, great. But if you're not going to forgive them sin, take me instead. So we have Christ, who is the one who is taking on our sins. And God is not going to forgive us willy-nilly because he's just and he's love. In order to be love, you have to be just. So because of his justice and because of his love for those who are oppressed and victimized, he has to have blot out something else. Like you have to blot out the transgressors, but he also loves the transgressors. So Jesus comes in our place to save us. Awesome. It's beautiful. Good question from the text, alone. It's ambiguous. It is, which is why there's so many debates. Yeah. Yeah, I think a big thing from this comes from the biblical understanding of cursed. It has nothing to do with sorcery. Absolutely. The Wiccans, the witches, they do not represent curses according to the biblical version of it. Yeah. The blood of Christ knows no bounds, indeed. So, and Yahweh said to Moses, "Whoever has sinned against me, I will blot him out of my book. But now go, guide the people where I told you. Behold, my angel shall go before you. Nevertheless, in the day when I will punish them for their sin." Then Yahweh smote the people because of what they did with the calf which Aaron had made. So this could be the smoting of the Levites that already happened, or it could be an additional level of killing that's not numbered. But I think from context, you probably get the smoting of the Levites was the punishment. because otherwise I feel like it'd be more explicit, because he's very explicit all the other times that he kills them. But he's going to blot out those who sin against him. And if you're blotted out, are you going to be written back in? Can you be written back in through just working the law? My answer would be no, because our works are like filthy rags before God. As I mentioned in the stream earlier today, you need clean blood to clean according to the law. You need righteous blood, clean blood to make atonement for the dirty blood. Our good works are dirty blood. It's literally what that means. It's filthy blood. It's literally used menstrual. So it's what could have become life was discarded by the female body in the blood. So it is death. It is blood full of death, blood full of potential and relationship that never came about. And we are trying to use our good works, which is dirty blood full of death, to gain life, to gain atonement. And it just can't happen. So, need Christ, man.
Yeah.
Anyway. I have drank all my cow juice.
Okay.
So, then Yahweh spoke to Moses, go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought up from the land of the Egypt, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, saying, to your seed I will give it. And I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Hemorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Pivite, and the Jebusite. Go up to the land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in your midst, because you are a stiff-necked people, lest I consume you on the way. So again, I just had some cow juice, and that's part of the promise. So I'm following the covenant. I just. For though I will not go up in your midst, because you are a stiff-necked people, lest I consume you on the way. It's just like, oh man. That is a terrifying sentence to hear. Mud blood from Harry Potter is a real insult. Yeah. We have the angel. We see an angel of Yahweh being sent out, and we'll see in a little bit that this angel has the name of Yahweh within it. Who is this angel, and why does he have the name of Yahweh? Then the people heard this and heard this sad word. Oh, that's a weird way to phrase that. Then the people heard this sad word and went into mourning, and none of them put on his ornaments. So again, it's masculine. For that there we have his ornaments being applied, and it's like the gold, all the fancy stuff that they're wearing, the stuff that they used to make the calf, they all took it off. They're like, let's not wear this thing that we just used to create idols. Let's not wear it in front of this God who is saying, I might consume you on the way there. Maybe it would be a good idea to take off the earrings and necklaces and everything else. Yeah. One of the few smart things they did in the desert is this sentence right here. So Yahweh said to Moses, say to the sons of Israel, you are a stiff-necked people. Should I go up in your midst for one moment, I would consume you. So now put off your ornaments from you, that I may know what I shall do with you. So again, now he's commanding them to take off their ornaments. So the sons of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments from Mount Horeb onward. So the riches that Israel was given by God by plundering the Egyptians, which partly like weakened the Egyptians. We can see that in Thutmose IV, his reign onward. There's a little bit of a decline in the Egyptian power while they're struggling to get back a bunch of slaves that they lost. So they import 100,000 slaves for the million slaves that they left. Or I guess like the 500,000 working men, depending on how you number them. But we have the Israel leaving, them going out and seeking a workforce. They go and get a workforce. But God, specifically here, wanted to bless the people of Israel. He wanted to bless them with finances. He wanted to bless them with wealth. And they spat in his face with it.
Yeah.
So they were stripped of it. Whenever we have these promises of God, whenever we have all these blessings that he will give us, when we treat them with contempt, whenever we treat them like trash, whenever we complain about them, God takes them away from us. Maybe to humble us, maybe they'll give it back in another season of life, because again, the Jews regain their prosperity, Solomon built the temple out of gold. Like, obviously, the prosperity comes back to them, but they should have already had enough gold on them to build the temple whenever they're going in. But instead, God destroyed it. He took away some of their prosperity because of their infidelity to him. Which is crazy. Good life lesson. Now Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, a good distance from the camp, and he called it the tent of meeting. And everyone who sought Yahweh would go out to the tent of meeting, which was outside the camp. And it happened whenever Moses, also interesting to note, the same type of ideas with Jesus, as he's outside of the temple court, and he's like outside of the camp whenever he's crucified, typology. Anyway. And it happened whenever Moses went out to the tent that all the people would arise and stand, each at the entrance of his tent, and gaze after Moses until he entered the tent. I heard Chase. What did he say? Okay, I'm skipping that. There's a running joke inside of our Discord group. And it happened whenever Moses went out into the tent that
sanctioned this? Question mark. Okay, sorry, my bad.
That all the people would arise and stand, each at the entrance of his tent, and gaze after Moses until he entered the tent. So they're like waiting to come up to Moses to arrive. And it happened whenever Moses entered the tent that the pillar of cloud would descend and stand at the entrance of the tent, and Yahweh would speak with Moses. So here's a contradiction within the Bible. And all the people would see the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, and all the people would rise and worship, each at the entrance to his tent. Thus Yahweh used to speak to Moses face to face, just as a man speaks to his friend. But just a little bit later on, he says, if you see my face, you will die. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no man can see me and live. So Yahweh says, you cannot see me and live, yet Yahweh spoke to him face to face. He literally descended from the cloud and was inside of the tent with Moses and talked to him. He was present whenever Yahweh wrote on the tablet. How is it that he can literally speak to Yahweh face to face, and yet the same chapter you can't? What's happening here? And McCain already brought it up. It's Christophany. Yeah. We also get this in John, where it says no one can see the Father and live, but people can see the Son. So this would just be an indication that Yahweh the Son is the one who is the Yahweh here. That the angel going before them, the angel in the cloud, because it's the angel of Yahweh in the cloud. So Yahweh is descending from the cloud. Who's in the cloud? It's the angel of Yahweh. So we have Yahweh / angel of Yahweh descending from the cloud, speaking to Moses face to face. And then in a little bit, he goes up again to see the full glory of Yahweh, and Yahweh says, you can't or you'll die. So this only makes sense from a Christian perspective, in my view. Now, obviously, Jews will, do whatever they do, either mythicize it if they're rabbinic, or I'd be interested in how Israel deals with it. I should have brought this up earlier in the stream with him earlier today. But you have difficulties in the Torah that I think are hard to get past without a physical God that is different from a spiritual God or a ethereal God. There's an ethereal God that we cannot interact with in a certain ways, and there is a physical God that we can interact with, that we can eat with, that we can wrestle with. Jacob wrestled with him. That can stop us from sacrificing.
It doesn't seem like it's this difference in the text ever really kind of is a big deal. They just talk about it freely, back and forth. So it's like they have an understanding of it. That was already there. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't bother them to have these all over the place, where there's the angel called by God's name, or speaking as God, or engaging in things, or even just being visible to begin with. And it's all in there several times, and it's never pointed out as like that they thought it was odd, or that they are trying to classify it differently, or there's no real explanation for it. It's just kind of there.
it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The casualness of it is part of the evidence for it. Yeah, because it's not ham-fisted. So it's not like later scribes forced it into the text. It just flows as if that was the intent, that was the original. We see that a lot with the New Testament, which is part of the evidence for the authenticity of the New Testament, is how casual a lot of its facts are. So it's not trying to like prove its authenticity the way that they that shall not be named does. It's just naturally like, yeah, I know. I was there. I was a witness. And it's just presenting the evidence as a witness would. Of, this happened. We were there. We went, yeah.
Testify does a great video, or a couple, I think, on the
70.
undesigned coincidences. And that's super fun to just see all of those and how they tie together and how it's like ultimate proof that they're reliable because they agree in things where you couldn't have designed them to agree like that.
Right.
It's very cool.
Yeah. It's super base. There's like over 100 of them too. It is pretty incredible. And the skeptics who go against are like, oh, it's not that impressive. It's just like, arbitrarily. Then they like try to dismantle one or two of them. You're like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't actually think your critique is valid of those one or two. But what about the other like 80 that you're not talking about?
Right.
Anyway, so again, people miscategorize the type of arguments that Christianity is based upon because they always treat it as we have 1 or 2 points to our position, and if you can debunk those 1 or 2 points, you've debunked Christianity. When that's never been the argument. The argument is always cumulative. It is all of the Old Testament, all of the New Testament, all the archaeology, all of it intermingling together and cooperating one another, and reason and logic. Like you have a very multifaceted approach to knowing Yahweh is God, who is triune. Like, and that he came as a man, lived, died, resurrected, and redeemed us from sin. Like, that is the position, but you get through that position like hundreds or even not thousands of different ways you come to it.
Yeah.
So it is, several books. Like it's I was trying to write the book on it. It's 200 pages so far, and I think it's gonna be like 1,000. So I'm not sure if I want to like. And the sad part is, around 150 of that is just my notes. So it's not actually like the text of it. It's just the notes, the summary of the position. So like my index to the book is 40 pages. I don't know if I want to make it into like a multi-volume set, or just full send it and have like 1,000-page book. I have no idea when that's gonna come out if I get free time. If I do this full time, I'll spend like a couple hours writing every day. But yeah, anyway,
I love a good thick book.
Good thick book.
The nice it makes you feel like you did something when you get through it. Oh, so this one's for Tommy.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes!
I just reached for my thickest book in sight, and
you got Sherlock Holmes. That's awesome.
Because I do happen to be by my actual, not very impressive bookshelf. This time around, I'm positioned in a way where I can.
How to talk about Jesus without looking like an idiot.
I still haven't read it. Funnily enough.
Well, that explains a lot, man. I know.
This is the best. This is, other than the Bible, this is the best book. Come on now. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
Oh yeah,
Everyone should go read that.
Just a little bit into that. So I lost it for a bit, but I have it next to on Shabbat. My daughters like to make a living room camp out every week, and so my position is by the wall where I'll have some Bibles and things like that, and I had that book over there too. And I guess when they had cleaned it up after one weekend, the book got misplaced, but I found it again. So I need to get back. I need to finish that up.
Yeah, McKay, I'm not sure which of the books he held up that you're talking about, but Tactics definitely.
Yeah.
For sure, the primary. Every Christian should read Tactics. There's no you have no excuse as a Christian to not read that book. It's not expensive. It's not long. It's necessary. That worldview
is like free, like $5 or whatever it was, like
right
on Amazon. So it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very easy to read too.
John Calvin read.
All right, I'm done with all the Calvin. Okay. So we have Yahweh knowing him, gonna steam. So just wait, I'll just put an Amazon link in the chat. Hold on.
I don't know which one he's on about.
Yeah, no, maybe the how to talk about Jesus without looking like an idiot.
I think it was Sherlock Holmes.
But there's an anniversary edition to it that you should definitely get. The anniversary edition has expanded tactics within it. But the core of it, the first like 2 chapters, the first 3 chapters, that's a good read in and of itself. But anyway, so
a ton of books I haven't read.
Yeah, me too. We need to do a stream just going through miracles. That would be cool. I don't know how much of it we could read without copyright infringement. Not sure how that works, especially because it's not an old book. I don't know. We'll see. Then Moses would return to the camp, and his attendant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, would not depart from the tent. So Joshua was there the whole time. That's probably why he's chosen to lead them after the fact. And Moses said to, because he also, like, not only was he in the presence of Yahweh whenever he physically came, but he's also hearing the discussion between Moses and Yahweh. Like, brother, if I could hear for years, like decades, Jesus pre-incarnate in his glory talking to Moses, I would give just about anything to be in Joshua's position with that. Like the fact that he's not departing from the tent, like neither would I.
Yeah,
are you kidding me? Like, what? That's awesome. And it makes sense why Joshua immediately recognized the angel of the Lord in Joshua. Whenever he comes, he says, "Hey, take off your sandals for your holy ground." And he sees him. He's like, "Oh!" It's hit the ground. And he's like, "Are you here to destroy us, Lord?" And he's like, "No, go and wage war." Super base again. Jesus not a pacifist. I don't know if I said that in this stream or the other stream, but Jesus ain't no pacifist, my guy. He goes on and kills the whole enemy group. Then Moses said to Yahweh, "See, you say to me, bring up this people, but you yourselves have not let me know whom you will send with me. Moreover, you said, I have known you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight." God knows us by name. That's pretty based. So now I pray you, if I have found favor in your sight, let me know your ways, that I may know you, so I may find favor in your sight. See also that this nation is your people. And he said, my presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest. So Moses knows Yahweh by name. Yeah, on that first name basis with him. He is in relationship with God. And then God comes and he says, my presence shall go with you and I will give you rest. I will give you rest. And we see that in the New Testament with the rest offered through Christ. But my presence, the Jews invented a term for this called the Shekinah. But my presence, I literally will go with you. And he said to him, if your presence does not go with us, do not lead us up from here. Indeed, how then can it be known that I have found favor in your sight and I in your people? So he's like, I don't want to go anywhere you're not there, God. If only Christians had this view today, man, the world would be a better place. Not only would you abolish all the sin that the church is doing right now, but you would actually have people going out into do ministry work, into doing evangelism, into doing teaching and like actual study and love and fellowship and community. Like God wants us to be around other people because he loves people, and the greatest gift we can have for one another is to love one another. There's so many people in society who's never experienced love before. That's wild. That's insane. There's people who grow their entire life never experiencing love a single time and then die either from like overdosing or from taking their own life. Like that should not be. But because we're not being faithful, that's happening. Now, I mean myself too. I'm not like throwing dart. I'm not holier than thou. I suck. Like I'm not. We as a people, we as the sons of God and daughters of God need to do a better job of trying to be in the voice of God, that we are not willing to travel without him, that we are not willing to work without him, that we're not willing to serve, to speak, to be anywhere without God there with us. But anyway, getting off my soapbox, not in the UK. I and your people may be distinguished from all the other people who are upon the face of the earth. Then Yahweh said to Moses, I will also do this thing of which you have spoken, for you have found favor in my sight, and I have known you by name. So not only did Moses know God by name, but God knew Moses by name. This is a level of intimacy that God wants with all of us, but we have this intimacy available to us through Christ, who bridged the gap between God and man, who found weakness in him, relates to us in our weakness, and is able to have a deeper relationship because of it. We can know God through that, which is awesome. Awesome. Celebrity deathmatch. And Tommy's just like hiding his face.
I need to take a minute. That is really funny. That is really funny. Wow.
Celebrity deathmatch, St. Thomas Aquinas versus John Calvin. Yeah. Whichever was predestined, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. The Thomist versus the Calvinist.
You know, I had only heard about, in all my studying, which I kind of feel embarrassed to say, I had only heard about Calvinism like maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. I didn't even know that was like I mean, I knew who he was, but I had never heard, I guess I'd never really been introduced to anybody who held that position. And what do you think about that, Chris? What are your thoughts on Calvinism?
It's my least favorite Christian view.
Mm.
So of the non-heretics, it's my least favorite. So I'm not counting like JW, Mormon, whatever that. So like of the different views you can hold within Christianity, I dislike that the most. I don't think it's biblical. I think we have free will. I also don't believe in predestination. I don't believe in. Tell you laughing in the background. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of Calvinism myself. I would say that it makes God the author of evil, or at least it's confusing. It definitely is not shedding light onto the scriptures, especially the Old Testament.
You're not disrespecting John Calvin in my presence, though, are you? I hope not.
Yeah. I was predetermined to. Yeah. Anyway, not a massive fan of Calvinism myself. I think it blows holes into the Bible and it doesn't actually teach the Bible. I think it's the least biblical view a Christian could hold, other than like universalism. I think universalism's probably one of the only ones that is less Christian. Anyway, yeah, that's my little mini tangent. I can do like a really long dialogue on why I think Calvinism's wrong, but I think that's already been done to death, and it doesn't really matter. Ultimately speaking, if Calvinism's true, it doesn't matter. If Calvinism's not true, it doesn't matter. So why talk about it? Anyway. So then Yahweh said to Moses, I will also do this thing of which you have spoken, for you have found favor in my sight, and I have known you by name. Based. And then Moses said, I pray you show me your glory. So now he's saying, I pray you show me your glory. So he's known him by name. He has eaten a meal in his presence. He has held the stone that was carved by his hand. And yet he still says, I wish you were to show me your glory. And he said, I myself will make all my goodness pass before you. I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before you, and I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show compassion on whom I will show compassion. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no man can see me and live. Yet he's literally having a face-to-face conversation with him at this moment in time. So obviously his glory, his fullness is something beyond just the physical version of Yahweh that he's interacting with there, especially because I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before you.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Right.
Like, I will make myself all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before you. He's already doing it. He's in front of him, and he's saying the name Yahweh. What is special about this event? And it might be that the Son is having the Father pass before him, and the Son is saying, "Here is Yahweh." So it would not necessarily be the Father saying like, "I am Yahweh," but it is the Son declaring the name Yahweh before Moses as the Father passes by.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you cannot see my face, for no man can see me and live. He is at the same time othering Yahweh, because I will proclaim the name of Yahweh. Now I will proclaim my name. I will proclaim the name of Yahweh other, and I will show my goodness will pass before you. Not I will pass before you, but my goodness. So he's othering aspects of himself, and yet he is possessively saying my face. There's this weird thing which that happens all over the Old Testament where God is other, yet he is himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not clear why that's happening. We see this a lot, especially with the angel of Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, well, he's just a messenger. I don't think that actually works that well.
Right.
It's not a messenger in front of him right now. It doesn't say angel at all. All of this passage is literally just Yahweh.
Well, and
But
emphasizing the face-to-face aspect of it too.
right, like literally, like I Yahweh used to speak to Moses face to face. It's not the angel of Yahweh. It's not the representative of Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
It's Yahweh. So Yahweh is speaking to him face to face. Yet, whenever you show the full glory, you cannot see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's this weird othering, yet there's this personal. So I think a triune God is the only thing that actually makes sense of this type of language. And we get this a lot in the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the chat has been interesting since the whole Calvinism stuff.
Yeah.
Tommyism
But it's
is
cool. It's
by
cool.
far superior.
Don't get sidetracked by it.
All right. And Levi said I was a Giga Chad. What are you on about, man?
You won't understand. It's something me and the Calvinists only me and them are have been predestined to understand. Chase will get
it. Then Yahweh said, "Behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand there on the rock. And it will come about while my glory is passing by that I will put you in the cleft of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. And then I will remove my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." So again, what hand? How is this happening? If God is over there, passing by him, how is his hand over him? Unless there's two Yahwehs here. Unless there's a Yahweh with his hand over him, and a Yahweh who's going to be moving, who you will see his back of. So if this is the Yahweh is talking to him, saying, "My hand, I'm going to cover you. I'm going to shield you from the glory of the Father," because he's such a brilliant, intense light that you would literally be like atom bombed. Like you would be irradiated to nothingness if you were before him. Kind of like the atomic bomb whenever in Hiroshima, it cast shadows of the people because they were like instantly vaporized from it. Moses may have been vaporized from the intense light of the Father.
Well, see, and with this part too, it's super interesting because what actually is the purpose of this? You know what I mean?
Right.
What's actually they've already gone through to emphasize how personal and how close God and Moses were, and then you get something like this, which is it's just kind of odd sounding, you know, to just throw it in there just willy-nilly. It's obviously there for a reason, and I think that one of those reasons could be to illustrate this these different aspects of God like that.
It's so cool. we see multiple Yahwehs in the scripture. And what do you do with that other than the Trinity?
Mm-hmm. Well, and
Like,
they always
genuine question.
behave the same, you know, they
Mhm.
it's not like, oh well, that was the nice Yahweh, and and no, this is the grumpy Yahweh. They always they're consistent, and but then there's things about them that where it's you can see him, but you can't see him, and especially in a passage like this, as close together as they are, kind of leading into one another. It's
Right. It's very confusing.
very, yeah.
Yeah. Like, unless you're holding that the author of the Bible is so stupid that they would make an obvious contradiction in the same
Over
breath,
and over,
like
right.
over and over again. But like, it's literally on the same page. Like, you're writing, and
Mhm.
above where you're writing is literally the passage where it says they're seen face to face. Unless you're thinking that the author, at least the scribe of the Torah, is so stupid that they
Mhm.
would make an error where in 20 it says that, but in like 11 it says that 9 verses later. Because if I
Mhm.
like remove the Hebrew, or if I like remove the English, you should be able to see like how stupidly close this is.
Mhm.
Like, you can see it on the same page in some Bible text. My text is too big because I'm like reading it. But if you like, this is currently 240% zoom. If I go to like 110, it's like, yeah, okay. So you have Yahweh spoke to him face to face, and you can't see him face and live. Like, this is the size of text I would actually be reading on the screen. It's just too small for stream.
Mhm.
You can see both at the same time. What do you do with that? I don't know. It's so cool. I do think it's way more obvious that the Trinity is in the Bible than what most people let on, and even what I was able to articulate earlier today.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah. Now, Yahweh said to Moses, "Carve out for yourself 2 stone tablets like the former ones, and I will write on the tablets the words that were on the former tablets which you shattered." So again, God is writing these with his hand. Whatever they were predestined to be. Oh, now we're just gonna get all
encourage him.
The predestination memes. Okay. All right, I have to deal with that enough with you boys. So, be prepared by morning and come up in the morning to Mount Sinai and present yourself there to me on the top of the mountain. And no man is to come up with you. You've infected my brain so much. I literally thought time doesn't wait whenever I said no man. What have you done to me, Tommy? And no man is to come up with you, nor let any man be seen anywhere on the mountain. Even the flocks and the herds may not graze in front of that mountain. So he carved out 2 stone tablets like the former ones, and Moses rose up early in the morning and went up to Mount Sinai as Yahweh had commanded him, and he took 2 stone tablets in his hand. Then Yahweh descended in the cloud and stood there with him, and he called upon the name of Yahweh. So again, he's standing there in front of him, and yet he's not dying. Then Yahweh passed by in front of him and called out, "Yahweh, Yahweh, God, compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in loving kindness and truth." Yahweh is talking about Yahweh being kind and abounding in love and ever kind. Like, what's happening? Yahweh is praising Yahweh and
Mhm.
saying Yahweh God. Like, what's happening? Who keeps loving kindness for thousands, who forgives inequality, transgression, and sin, yet he will by no means leave the guilty unpunished, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children and the grandchildren to the 3rd and 4th generations. And Moses made haste to bow low toward the earth and worship. And then he said, "If now I have found favor in your sight, O Lord, pray let the Lord go along in your midst, even though they are a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us as your own inheritance." This is Adonai for both of these, because it's not like Yahweh is translated explicitly in this translation. So this is literally Adonai. Let O Adonai, I pray, let Adonai go before us.
So Moses
What's
literally
happening?
said, "Time waits for no man."
Chris, would you give me the mute treatment while I go address something very quickly, and I will
Yes,
be.
I can. I've already muted you. Already on it.
Moses literally said,
Time waits for no man.
Time waits for no man. Is there anything in there about the rent?
I'm just gonna mute you too. Okay. You put that in the chat too. So Yahweh here is passing by and calls out Yahweh, Yahweh God, and then he does all this like praise of God. Why is God praising himself here in this way? Unless he's like Andrew Tate. Why in the world is he talking in third person and praising himself after descending, after like saying, "Hey, no one can see me and live"? It just doesn't make any sense unless there is a actual like lower tiered Yahweh, not that is still Yahweh, but other who can be seen, who can be touched, who can be interacted with. Unless there's some Yahweh like that, how is it that Yahweh is doing these things in this chapter and in the previous chapter? It just doesn't make any sense. So again, Jesus literally here in front of Moses giving this beautiful prayer of God, that God is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger. So like, oh, how could Jesus pray to the Father? It's like, well, here's Jesus praising the Father. And in Zechariah 2, he talks to the Father and he like weeps and the Father comforts him. So you have Yahweh comforting Yahweh. Like, anyway.
It's almost like the Father and the Son are like two different things. I don't know, like crazy.
Yeah, like two different persons, yet the same God. It's weird.
They should write a book about this.
Yeah, they should come up with a word for that. Yeah.
No, I don't know.
What in the world is happening? Okay. And Moses made haste to bow down low to the earth and worship. So he sees God come and he still worships him, even though he talks to God all the time. And he's in front of the tent of meeting, and God comes down from the cloud, and they dialogue. And Joshua's over there, like literally me, like in awe of everything. We still have Moses bowing down to the earth and worshiping. Amazing.
Yeah,
it's awesome. And he said, "If now I have found favor in your sight, O Lord, I pray, let the Lord go along in our midst, even though they are stiff people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us as your own inheritance." So now he's interceding for the people, asking for atonement. Now again, atonement not through blood sacrifice, but atonement through repentance and intercession, which is pretty interesting. God said, "Behold, I am going to cut a covenant before all your people. I will do wondrous deeds which have not been created in all the earth, nor among any of the other nations. And all the people among whom you live will see the working of Yahweh, for it is a fearful thing that I'm going to do with you." So again, othering himself. "Be sure to keep what I commanding you this day." Also, it's literally just Elohim, and then othering Yahweh. "Be sure to keep the commandments I am commanding you to this day. Behold, I am going to drive out the Amorite before you, and the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite." McCain said genuine points. I'm actually going to read it. Psalms 1,000 years before Christ, Zechariah 500 years before Christ, Isaiah 700 years before Christ, Malachi 400 years before Christ. This is the mark of the true living God prophecy. Indeed. Even with the destruction of the temple, so much fulfilled prophecy, man. Yeah. If Yehuda was still here, you'd be coping and seething so raw.
So true. So true.
It's true, man. But what do you do with this? Literally, as a Jew, what do you do with all of these difficult Yahweh passages? How do you get past the Unitarian view that Yahweh is an echad, but echad doesn't mean unity, which it does in other parts of the scripture, but it literally just means one and only, the way that Yechid means? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, echad and yahid have very, very different. But the Jewish argument is never really that strong on that. And it's funny because it's, you'd think they'd be familiar with how that word
Their
works.
language?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like, oh, well, what about Genesis, where Adam and Eve are called in echad, and they're like, yeah.
And then God has there will be one people, when he's talking about the stranger that lives among you, and that's also a had, and and he's talking about like a lot of people. So it has no problem being used in a like a collective sense.
Right. Yeah. It's you're one people. Anyway, so beware lest you cut a covenant with the inhabitants of the land in which you are going, lest it become a snare in your midst, but rather you are to tear down their altars and shatter their sacred pillars and cut down their Asherah poles. For you shall not worship any other god, for Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. His name doesn't literally mean jealous. I've heard some dumb things with that. But his name is jealousy. He's yeah.
I guess it's not
People
surprising.
Oh man, the things you see.
I was interested. I
he
noticed. Oh, sorry. Just kind of on that
no, go
topic. In the stream earlier with Israel, he was off and on using Yehovah. Does he hold that that's a possible pronunciation, or is he just using it to? Oh, you don't know. Okay. Because I was wondering that. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Wouldn't expect that, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Jehovah, while it's, in my opinion, not a possible version of God's, the Tetragrammaton, the sacred numbers or letters, because it has a consonant in it, and like Josephus says, it's only vowels, and we get the Greek transliterations, which are only vowels, and
well, and we know for a fact
right.
why those vowels are superimposed onto those consonants.
Right,
Because they
the
change
Kireh
even
versus
when
the
they have
Kev, right.
Yahweh and
Adonai,
Elohim
Elohim,
together. Yeah,
right,
and they'll
yeah,
trade vowels, so you know when to say what.
the one
That
versus the other, yeah. Yeah, the vowel markings to get to Jehovah is a dumb argument, in my opinion. But even just going for the Vav and like what originally was being pronounced as a Wa, whereas Syriac, which is Aramaic, pronounces it as a Wa. What do you do with that? So like the tradition that came from the other tradition was a Wa. Why would the Vav not be a Wa in Hebrew as well? And Tommy, you laughing at the chat or at the Wa?
No, that both. But someone said Yahweh sounds cooler to me. I will choose to believe that's the right way to say it.
Based, yeah. The rule of cool. Let's do it. Anyway, no, I made a video on God's name. Gave like a 7-point argument for it being Yahweh and not Jehovah or Yahweh. You can check that out if you want. But
I think I've seen that. Yeah, it's a pretty good video.
Thanks. I think it's pretty good too. I have the argument, so I have like the PowerPoint. We can go through it if anyone wants to.
It's not quite the worm or the Rebecca video though, is it? It's not quite.
Yeah,
it's not quite on that level.
By the way, Chris, I am seeing on Twitter a lot because you get surges of goofs, and certain people are still throwing around the Rebecca was. Just read your Bible and you'll see what age it says Rebecca was. And I was delighted to see that people were putting your video in as a response to that, because that's the one great thing about if you've got a video and it's good. Instead of having to get in the whole mix with, and start, and with Twitter, a lot of times there's character limits and everything. You just post the video and then you can be done with it. You know what I mean? And if they want to comment on the video, then that's one thing. But to have all of that information just ready to go like that is awesome. It's
yeah. The description of that video also has the notes for the video itself. So if you just want like a copy and paste the argument, it's there. It's available for everyone. Yeah. Even I expanded upon it whenever I did the stream with David, so I added more content to it to make the argument even stronger. So
yeah, so everybody, if you ever run into that ridiculous claim that Rebecca was 3 or whatever, that she was a child, Chris has an excellent, in my opinion, the best addressing of that ridiculous claim.
And it's a good video.
I need to do one, Mary. Like Mary's 12. I need to do one on that because that's obviously stupid too. Yeah. We got 7 secret stone kissers in the chat. 434 that like button, everyone.
Rebecca
What
and
are
her
you on
father
about,
were
my
free.
guy?
This is the brew.
Yeah, even Jake thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
Before he blasted everyone, called them all F tier. Yeah,
Gave them all Fs.
yeah. Anyway, we don't need to go down that they that shall not be named rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So, and I'll actually just go up a little bit because I forgot the content. Oh, lest they cut a covenant in the land and you take some of his daughters for your sons, and his daughters play the harlot with their gods, and cause your sons also to play the harlot with their gods. So this is obviously idolatry, but it could literally be prostitution because they did religious prostitution. So both figurative harlot, and we get that in the prophets a lot. They're called harlots a lot in the prophets, and maybe even like literal doing it. So they even like grabbed effeminate men for the acts as well. Say that. You shall make for yourself no molten gods. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, in which I commanded you at the appointed time in the month of Aviv. For in the month of Aviv you came out of Egypt. It's interesting that it adds B's instead of V's. But teach their own. Yeah, the first offspring from every womb belongs to me, even of all your male livestock, the first offspring from cattle and sheep, and you shall redeem with a lamb the first offspring from a donkey, and if you do not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. You shall redeem all the firstborn of your sons. None shall appear before me empty-handed. You shall work 6 days, but on the 7th day you shall rest. Even during plowing time and harvest you shall rest.
Even when you're really busy.
Right, even when you're really busy. Oh, is that oh man.
I'm stepping up my game, Chris.
You caught me.
Putting the pressure on.
You got me. I've been defeated. And you shall celebrate. Again, Israel said I was following the Sabbath. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to like not be on my phone as much and like spend more time with the family and all that. I was like, that's following the Sabbath.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. It's just it's a very particular day. That's where that's where I have to.
My particular day is Saturday. I'm just not doing it from Friday sunset to I'm not doing the sunsets, but from Friday or from Saturday morning to Saturday night, I'm trying to.
Yeah, sounding a bit like a cherry picker there, Chris.
I mean, like, changing the law to suit my schedule, but I'm still trying to follow it a little bit. Anyway.
He's working on it. That's what you're doing, Chris. You're working on it.
I would never do such a thing.
Yeah, I love the chat that you did, Steven, where you were like, I love that Chris is pushing Israel towards Jesus and Israel's pushing Chris towards the law.
Yeah, I didn't know who to cheer for at first. So it's like, yeah, guys, go, both of you.
Oh, you was.
I mean, it's been a fun 24 hours for a Torah observant person like me, watching you with Ash last night.
Yeah,
and seeing there's a Jew who now loves Jesus, and then going on to what the little I saw today, where I was like, oh, and he was actually, it seemed like he was taking into consideration the things you were saying about Jesus, and bringing up kind of on the same subject here, different appearances in the Tanakh where you look and you say, what? Yeah, and he kind of, it seemed like he was actually humoring the idea of it. So that was great.
I like him. I mean, Ash was the one who recommended me to talk to him. We're gonna talk again hopefully soon. But like I got his number. I'm excited to have how that relationship goes. But cool dude. Really cool conversation. I don't think I actually did as good as I could have done because I didn't really sleep last night. And I had caffeine, but not making excuses for my inability to defend my own arguments. But
but you'll get
a good conversation, right? Yeah, it'll happen. I don't actually think I can read that on screen with the present company, but anyway. So And you shall celebrate the Feast of Weeks, that is the first fruits of wheat harvest and the first of ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times a year, all your males are to appear before the Lord Yahweh, the God of Israel. For I will dispose. Dispose. My brain is breaking. Dispossess. Wow, my brain cannot handle that right now. I've been on. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. I've been on camera for nearly 7 hours or 8 hours now today.
And not just on camera, but actively brain engaged too. So
yeah, like before I did the stream with Israel, I was like, yeah, he was on his laptop, so he couldn't actually look at the chat. So I was watching his chat, my chat, and trying to actually discuss things with him in real time. So I used up a lot of my brain. Then I took a nap, and now we're doing this. So great decision making for me. I get on to you guys about
great.
Probably wouldn't be bad for all three of us if we did wrap it up soon. Because I did tell myself that tonight I'm going to actively try to sleep some.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Actually, I think I wanted to end with let me go where I wanted. I think I wanted to end at the end of this one. The law is based. What was my cutoff? 34. Yeah, 34 is the end. So we're almost in with Exodus. So this is like the wrap up of everything. But I love the fact that I was getting on to you guys about not sleeping and overworking yourself, and I basically did the same. So anyway, so you shall redeem the firstborn. You shall celebrate the feast of the weeks. So he's just recapping all of the law that they had already agreed to up until this point. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, and the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover shall not be left until morning. So again, Jesus, you shall bring the very first of the fruits of your ground to the house, the Holy Spirit, Pentecost, and you shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Again, treating animals humanely. I wonder if there's any typology you might be able to point to with this, because it's a repeated phrase, but anyway.
Yeah, what is
never
it? It
thought
shows
about
up
that
3
before.
times, right?
I think so, yeah.
And more towards the anti-rabbinical idea of kosher argument here, it never really shows up in the dietary laws. It always shows up separate from those.
In the moral laws, right? It's not part of the kosher laws. It's morality based, which is interesting. Why? So, and brother, we got 3 more hours.
Yeah.
My camera can only do 5 hours. I discovered while doing the stream with Chase on Demons. So my battery is going to end at 5 hours and 30 minutes. So I'll have to switch over to my terrible mic I had for the Ash Maze stream. Anyway, then Yahweh said to Moses, "Write down these words, for in accordance with these words, I've cut a covenant with you and with Israel." So he was there with Yahweh 40 days and 40 nights. He did not eat bread or drink water. Hey, what does that sound like? Huh. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments, literally the 10 sayings, I think, in the Hebrew.
Yeah. Asereti brot.
So, right. 40 days, 40 nights, did not eat bread or water. Now, God probably supernaturally supplied the water. You can actually go 40 days without eating food. It's really not that hard, as long as you're not skinny before you do it. If you have even a little bit of fat, you can do 40 days pretty easily, as long as you have salt water plus regular water, because you need electrolytes to keep living. Otherwise, your lungs will shut down, your muscles will shut down, your heart will shut down, and you die. I had a friend who was fasting really aggressively, and his legs stopped working. And I do medical research for a living. I was like, "Go drink some milk real quick, or you're gonna die." And he's he's army crawling to his fridge to get some milk, and he just starts chugging it, because he did a 2 or 3 week fast without any electrolytes in that whole time. I was like, the dumbest thing. He was like, "You saved my life," and I was like, "You just don't be an idiot. What are you doing?" Love the guy. Anyway, he's definitely not watching this. He doesn't watch any of my content, but I love him. Now, it happened when Moses was coming down from Mount Sinai, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in Moses' hand as he was coming down from the mountain, that Moses did not know the skin of his face shone because of his speaking with him. His face was shining. Then Aaron and all the sons of Israel saw Moses, and behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. Then Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moses spoke to them. And afterward, all the sons of Israel came near, and he commanded them everything that Yahweh had spoken to him on Mount Sinai. Then Moses finished speaking with them and put a veil over his face. Whenever Moses went in before Yahweh to speak with him, he would take off the veil until he came out, and then he would come out and speak to the sons of Israel what had been commanded. And the sons of Israel would see the face of Moses, and the skin of Moses shone. So Moses returned the veil over his face until he went in to speak with him again. There's a really deep and beautiful typology here. But before that, it's interesting that Annie wrote the tablets of the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. Now, this might indicate explicitly that the 10 commandments are the only thing on the covenant, or you could say this entire passage here, this whole summary, is what is written on the tablet, because that's still not much text. And it's like a summary. Why is there a summary here? Could it be that this summary is what was actually on the stone tablets? Because at the beginning of it says, I will remake the tablets for you. So I will remake the tablets. And then he does this wonderful thing. Then I'm going to cut the covenant. And then he goes through the covenant. So this might be the covenant that was written down on the tablets itself, not just being the 10, which is only like very short sentences. Like, how small is the rock to hold the 10 commandments? But if it's the 10 commandments plus these other ones, then you got some like sizable things. And then you get like what the art depicts is it's literally just these paragraphs. That's it. If that is the case, then you have something kind of random, like not boiling a young goat in its mother's milk apart. Like, God considers this important enough to put it on the stone tablets, because the other stuff are written down on parchment. This may be one of the few things that are on the stone itself. Why is this so important to God? Interesting. But whenever we go through the veiling and how the veil is removed and torn of the curtain of the tabernacle or of the temple, that the Holy of Holies is released and that the presence of God leaves the temple and also dwells on us, we originally our encounter with Moses would hide his face to make sure that people could not see the glory fading. He hid his face so that people would only ever think of him as the shining one, as the representative of God, that they could trust him with the words that he is speaking. But Moses would decrease in his glory, not his glory, but the glory that was on him from Yahweh. That would decrease over time. So you'd put the veil on to cover that it was waning. And Jesus, he brings Moses into the promised land. He brings him into the fulfillment of all of it, because on Mount Horeb, that's the first time Moses ever set foot into Israel, is whenever he's talking to Jesus with Elijah during the transfiguration. It's the first time Moses ever enters into the promised land. The only time in this life Moses physically steps foot in the promised land. And at that moment in time, it didn't matter if he had the veil anymore, because he was with God face to face in the promised land, fulfilling the covenant. And he could see the covenant being fulfilled in God in his glory, Jesus in his glory during the transfiguration. So not only did he see Jesus in his glory, he also finally got the rest that he wanted. And then Jesus opened the way for him to actually dwell with God, not in the bosom of Abraham, not in Gehenna, but like not in Hades, but actually in heaven with God, because Jesus opened the way because Moses was not with God whenever he died. Jesus brought him not only into the promised land, but he also brought him into heaven with the resurrection. So we have God, or Jesus here, filling all of this and being the thing that removes the veil from us, that we are actually able to have this relationship with God. And we don't have to worry about our light fading, because we have the Holy Spirit indwelling us to help us shine light onto the world at all times. So we can be a light to the world. Moses is literally a light to the people because he is shining from his face. But it says whenever the Holy Spirit indwells us that we are a light to the nations. So we are literally like Moses, shining out for the world to see God and to hear his word, to hear the gospel preached to the nations. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah. He says the boiling and milking was a Canaanite religious practice. I have
I've
not
heard
actually
that,
heard
and
that.
that was the main thing I ever learned regarding it. That it was like a fertility rite, and you would sprinkle the milk onto the crops afterwards as like a thing. There are a lot of people that argue against that now, saying that there's not really evidence for that, which I haven't researched that enough to say so one way or the other, but that's what I had always heard when I was studying it, and it made enough sense to me. Either way, it's a pretty good thing, to not do it, and you'll be good with that one. But yeah, I always heard it was a pagan fertility rite, but I do have to revisit
Okay.
that because people are making a big deal of saying that that's not there's not really evidence for it, so I'd like to suss that out and make up my mind on
Yeah.
that. So
There's
you
a
had
lot of
not
those
heard that,
positions
Chris?
where it's just. No, I've not actually heard that in my
Okay.
studies of it. I haven't done that deep of a dive into that specific thing. So that was actually a genuine question for me. Of
Mhm.
why in the world is this so important that God has it in the list of like the most important things of the covenant?
Yeah.
Like he gave that before he went up on the mountain with Moses. So that was part of the original covenant that was given to them before all the other laws were added onto it.
Mhm.
Why is that so important? I don't have the answer to that. I'll eventually look into it, but
It
if that
does
is
really stick
because
out like
he's
a sore thumb.
right, like, but it does demonstrate the humane conduct of human to animals because we get that with the
Mhm.
bulls and the Sabbath rest and all that stuff too. But like, why is that so important?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did
Anyway,
you ever speaking of that, did you ever get a chance, probably not, I can't imagine, but to look over that article I sent you about the legality of castration biblically?
I skimmed it, but my depraved mind right now cannot recall the specifics of it.
Okay.
Um,
It was just because we had talked about it maybe last
right,
stream or the one before.
right.
And and you were saying because we were talking about the difference between an ox and a bull, which I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were more distinct.
Mm,
And
right.
so the
It's
paper
literally just
goes over uh in ancient Israeli culture how it is plausible that uh they were two different things.
right. Man, McCann said the legality of what now? Can you cut off the testicles of your animals? Yeah. Can you spay a dog or spay, neuter a dog or a cat? Uh, yeah,
Because I
it's
remember when you
exciting.
said that,
Just
when
like
you were saying like, I don't know if that's like an across the board provision, because like I mentioned, our female dog is, we've
right
left her
in the
intact
heat.
for that reason,
Yeah.
and so sometimes that's not very fun for a couple weeks. So it'd be
No, I'm
nice, if
aware.
you could do that. But
Right.
I do see a kind of a common thread throughout the Torah of that it would make sense for me for God to prohibit that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It does kind of fit in
Because
that way. So,
he's life focused where he wants things to be prosperous and to
hmm,
multiply and removing the sex organs kind of goes against his natural design. So
right.
is it right to do that or should we actually just leave it intact? Um,
Hmm.
yeah. Because we're not ordered to concentrate or castrate any humans for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah, and
So
in fact, a castrated male, whether it happened, I think, intentionally or by accident, is prohibited from certain.
the priesthood.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have your testes to serve in the priesthood.
Yeah, God,
Um,
God is a God of life, and I think having that aspect physically of the ability to reproduce is he does seem to place a lot of importance on that.
right. Yeah. Ironically, most other pagan priesthoods would be castrated
Hmm.
because they were typically serving the monarchies, and the monarchies didn't want, like, so China did this for thousands of years, but
Hmm.
they didn't want the basically the eunuchs came about because of this. The eunuchs were basically the priestly class that were tending to the royalty because the royalty were typically gods. So you don't want people having intercourse with the princesses or the concubines of the emperor, god, king, whatever. So you just and it's either both or just the testicles. But Chinese would do both, and then they would shove a stint into it so you could pee. And if your hole didn't heal, you would die because your urine would trap inside your body, and you would just die slowly and painfully. So they would cut off both in one slice, and then shove a stick in, and hope you heal.
Pagans.
Yeah, Chinese, man, China. Other groups did it differently, but
yeah, I think we can all agree that there's not really a good way to do that. There's probably worse ways than others, but definitely none of them would be considered like appealing.
Right. We have Chase saying, I have a hard time believing that the majority of cults in Israel were not gelded. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of animals that get very aggressive and violent that you're trying to work with. Not having them be neutered would be maybe even a liability in some cases.
Yeah, that article does actually go through that that argument of saying that because of like using for work and stuff. And that's what I liked about it. It was short, but it kind of addressed everything that I would think of. So that's why I was interested in your opinion on it.
Right. I mean, that would be the most obvious case for me for it, is that it is a better. It's like God always cares about the greatest good for humans primarily first, and then animals, and then the earth, because the earth isn't living. So humans, the greatest good for us is to not be injured and to stay alive. The animals, you have prohibitions in the Torah about what you can and can't do with animals because it might cause injury, it might cause death. If not neutering an animal would cause injury, would it make sense then to neuter it? Or would you just specifically have to leave it outside of the camp while it's in heat?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's ways that it could work. It's just, if we think backwards onto things the way we're used to, or the way that most people do it, obviously there's difficulties in that, or maybe even our lack of understanding. But I definitely lean towards that it's biblically prohibited, but and that's why when you brought up ox and bull, it's like, yeah, there's two different words for that, so why? And so that's kind of what that article
goes. Because there's laws about both of them. So if there's laws about both of them, does that mean God allows at least cattle to be neutered for work? Because oxes are kind of required for a lot of farm work back then. Because even donkeys might be strong enough to do it, but they don't have the temperament. And horses are not necessarily smart enough. I mean, they can kind of, but cows are smarter than horses.
That's why I thought, when you brought that to my attention, I thought, well, that would be definitive proof that it is okay. You know what I mean? If those words mean what we use them as now, then that would be kind of definitive.
Which they should, based on the legal usage in the sacrifices. But yeah. We had one comment say, I raise goats and sheep. I never sell intact boys because weird people always want to buy them for religious stuff. And he sells them to Nigerian Christians. That's the only ones that he sells intact goats to. I've seen videos. I've seen the videos. I know exactly what he's talking about. And it's not just the they that shall not be named, although they do it. It's other groups as well that do pretty deranged stuff with it. Again, what does AI fit the bill for Magode? Do they have the image of God on them? No. Even if they fully come to sentience, they don't have a soul. And they're not made by God, they're made by humans. Horses are smarter than because I really don't think so, my guy. Did you see the video? I saw it today. There's a video of a cow that used a broom to scratch itself. Explicitly. It's like, yeah, it was pretty cool. It was documented by scientists, and it's like this is one of the only instances they've seen that cows are literally using multi-use tools, and they use the bristles for its back and the stick for its udders. So it knows and it did it with like statistical certainty, like very high hit chance of one for each. And that cow used its tongue, positioned the staff or the broom, because it grabbed the broom at different locations depending on where it needed to scratch it on its back or belly or legs.
Wow.
So if it wanted to do its hind legs, it would do the very end of it and do it with the broom side. If it wanted to do its others, it would do the middle and then just kind of like, and it would use its tongue to position, and then it would grab its molars. So it literally scratched itself. I would not say horses are smart enough to do that, even if they had the tongue and like neck to be able to do it, because I don't really think they do. But horses are, I don't know, man. There are some smart horses, but aren't horses the ones that if you leave them by a gate, they'll literally eat the metal till they die because they're so stupid?
You know, we like to laugh at animals doing silly, stupid things, and we think like we're very smart, but then it's like I've never seen a horse with a crack pipe. Although that might be pretty funny, for a second. Don't let him actually use it.
Yeah, there's a stoner movie. I think it was Cheech or what was it? I forgot the name of it. Maybe it was like Dude, Where's My Car? But there's a dog that got high on edibles every day. So the dog was just like constantly smoking and just super, super high. And it reminded me of that. Yeah. I think there's more than one instance of it, because cows also like, you can look up the article. I'll send it to you, Chase, but it's pretty interesting. I've worked on a ranch. Horses can open intricate locks. It actually used to make everyone angry. Yeah, cows can also do that with watering as well. I mean, I've seen both. I think both animals are smarter than we give them credit for, but I don't know, man. I've heard some really like really dumb stories about horses.
Poor horses.
Anyway, yeah, I've heard some. Maybe they were just really dumb horses. But my dad was a farmer. My grandpa was a farmer. I'm blessed I didn't grow up on a farm myself, but I've heard some really dumb stories about a variety of animals. Like pigs and dogs are the only smart ones, and everything else is pretty stupid. Anyway, Tommy looks like he's about to either crash out or like deep introspection on the inner workings of the universe. One or the other. I don't know which. I'm guessing it's the deep thinking of the universe there. But we should probably go to sleep. Yeah. Horses are dumb, but I love them. Yeah. No, your wife is so based, man. I love your wife.
My wife?
Never met her. Yeah.
Oh.
She said, have you debated horses may be idiots, but have you debated a Dawa guy?
She gets frustrated if she's usually the one that'll like prompt me to like, get on here and talk to this guy. I'm like, oh, we'll see. Like if I tell if it's gonna like have a chance, then I get on, and then she's the first one to be like, oh, that's so stupid. I gotta get, and so.
That's funny.
Those guys.
All right. None of us have slept. We all should go sleep. Yeah. I'd rather deal with the horse. We were predestined to go to sleep now. So
yeah.
Let's go ahead and call it. Okay. Time waits for no man, neither to sleep. Let's go get a Sabbath rest and go to sleep. Refill our cow mugs, and I'll spam a cut in the chat if you can. McCain, you need to become a member again so you can actually use your frog chick. Anyway,
and get your money out.
May the grace of get your money out. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit with you always. Good night, Laila Tov.
Amen, Laila Tov.
Amen, Laila Tov.